15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Jeffrey Howell in the chat says, got a little advice for me. Maggie, for your 40-yard dash at next year's draft, have someone attach a bag of gummies to a stick like they do in a dog track. See, that implies that I needed some kind of motivation. The motivation was to not embarrass myself, which I'm pretty sure I did. I had like a Fred Flintstone kind of wind up where I was like, ah! Like my feet were going and then I took off.
Yeah.
Like
you were
fast feet.
Next year, maybe, can we get you a coach or something? Somebody tell you how to get out of the blocks?
How about just like a pair of shorts? Yeah,
Some sneakers, maybe.
I gotta plan a little better for this thing.
The upright running style, you have so much wind resistance.
I told you, I'm taller than people think, so that's a whole 5'8". I'm like a parachute out there.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What up? Welcome to the show. On this Monday, got a lot to do. Maggie and Perloff hanging out with you coast to coast on CBS Sports Radio. You want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can do it. And Perloff, I get it. This was an all-time great game last night between the Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. Excellent game. But it has been overshadowed now because we are waiting to see whether or not Nikola Jokic is going to be suspended for Game 5. Now, what happened? He got into a bit of an altercation with the new Suns owner. This is a guy named Matt Ishbia. He's been the owner for like 5 minutes. He was the owner. Basically, and 24 hours later, he was trading for Kevin Durant. And like, that's all we know about the guy, basically. He was in the front row. Ball goes out of bounds.
Yep.
Guys are running for it. And after Jokic kind of follows Josh Okogie out of bounds, the owner is holding the basketball, and Jokic tries to wrestle it away. Now, what happens is Jokic then gives the owner a forearm shiver. Basically, the owner takes a flop back into the seat. All that to say this. Jokic can't put his hands on anybody. And we could say that the owner's distasteful or you don't like what he did. What's the bottom line? The bottom line is you can't touch anybody.
Oh, my God.
So if he gets suspended today, he only has himself to blame.
So you're saying you think he should be suspended, or you're saying
the NBA could do this if they want? I didn't think Draymond was going to get suspended, by the way, so don't listen to me. But Draymond, when he stepped on Sabonis' chest, they cited his long history and all that.
And that was ridiculous,
Jokic
too. And that caused problems for them because then they weren't suspending guys for the same thing. Here is my problem with it. I don't care if it's the owner or the fans. The fans are so close on an NBA court. You have to act with decorum when you're up that close. And I don't think it was a real forearm shiver. I mean, come on.
He pushed him away.
I mean, if he wanted to really hit him, he could have. So, honestly, I blame the owner. I thought the owner was way out of bounds to be holding the ball like that. You're in the front row. Nobody knows you're the owner. You're a new owner. So you can't all of a sudden grab the ball and not give it back to a player. As someone who's recently been in the front row of a playoff game, there's a certain,
nice.
There's a certain etiquette.
Let me pick that up for you. Just drop the.
Oh, you mean when I was sitting there with Timothy Chalamet and Keegan-Michael Key?
Courtside Perloff.
Yeah, the three of us, we were hanging, we were having a good time, but we weren't drunk and we weren't getting in the way of the game. You have to admit, the NBA is insane how close these people are. It's totally one of the most bizarre sports situations. And now everyone there is famous. So I really think that the owner, the Suns owner, Ishbia, kind of crossed the line, more so than Jokic.
Okay, so here's how it sounded. Let's play a little bit of it. If my description wasn't good enough for you, here's how it sounded on the broadcast last night.
To walk into this building and not see his smiling face as Phoenix turns it over. Now, boy, Jokic, a little bit of contact. Boy, that potentially could get dangerous.
I think Jokic was just trying to get the basketball from the crowd, and crowd a little upset about that. And
boy, right into the area where Suns owner Matt Ishbia is seated, just to our left in that corner as security quickly trying to step in and defuse the situation.
A little bad boy action there from Matt Ishbia from Detroit.
So Ishbia does hang on to the ball I think you could have given Ishbia like a delay of game or something like that. He can't be holding on the ball like that.
You can't give a fan a delay of game.
Well,
and at that point, he's a fan. Yeah, but is he acting as part of the team then?
Yes, I think that if you wanted to do double technicals, so Jokic did get called for a technical foul because he pushed the owner. He gave him like the forearm to the point where the guy kind of flopped back into his seat. But I think that because you're the owner and because you are associated with the team, yes, the team would be also assigned a technical foul. They could have done that. But here's the thing, like what we cannot lose sight of here. When the Suns player goes out of bounds as he's trying to save the ball, but then the ball goes out of bounds and he's like basically, wrapped up with the camera guy and, trying to detangle himself. Murray, basically just Jamal Murray walks away. You watch him walk away. He doesn't try to, he doesn't need to help the guy up. He's being helped. He's detangling himself from everyone in the front row. He walks away. It's Jokic who then flies in to try to get the ball. What do you think you were going to do there?
He started a fast break. He's trying to inbounds it like a soccer player.
It wasn't. They weren't going to let you do that, I don't think, because they were all detangling. So many things were happening in the corner.
No,
I don't think you were going to get your 5-on-4 that you wanted there.
I think you're right, and I think Jokic was actually acting quite insane in that little thing.
Thank you.
But it wasn't harmful. I don't think, honestly, I totally understand what he was doing. He was trying to get the pace going. It was a weird, intense game.
It was.
If he hadn't done a little elbow, then nobody would be even talking about this. Here's my question for you. If that was, are we treating this situation differently because it's the owner and not a normal fan?
No, I think if it was a normal fan, I think Jokic would definitely, the fan would have gotten kicked out. There was another fan, by the way, that was kicked out because he reached over the front row to kind of touch Jokic. That's a no-no. You can't touch these guys. Obviously, we don't have to say that. And then, so he got kicked out. And then I think that if he was a regular fan, I think he's getting kicked out for sure. And I think Jokic is still facing the same thing, to suspend him or not suspend him, because you can't touch people. And I know that he's like, well, he touched me first on my hip. He's holding the ball. I mean, come on.
Well, I think, though, the problem is if you're going to suspend him for that, these fans are right there. LeBron was sitting down the other day. Did you guys notice there was an 11-year-old
two little girls?
Were right next to LeBron. I'm like, why did LeBron find another seat knowing the camera was on him the whole time? That was so insane.
No, I thought, man, is this kind of these little girls were adorable. Yeah. They looked like they were 11 and 12. I think that courtside seats might be wasted on kids that young.
Well, I had a sense that their parents had a lot of money. I don't know what I was basing that on. Yeah. But I do think that you have to send a message to these fans, you got to be on your best behavior up there. And even the owner, they were sort of instigating. I think the owner was instigating. And that's what my problem is. So if you suspend the Joker for this game, which they're not going to do, I don't think, because they cannot afford to. He's a big star. You're right. We were both wrong about Draymond.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you suspend Joker, who's going to watch this game?
Well, I mean, but has the NBA really acted that way before? You go back to the famous Suns-Spurs series where Robert Horry hip checks Steve Nash into the, basically into the wall, whatever it's called. And Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw both leave the bench. They end up getting suspended. San Antonio ends up winning that game 5 and I believe won the series in 6. The NBA didn't give a crap then.
Everyone loves to bring that up because I think it's an apologetic way of saying Steve Nash's MVP vote wasn't that bad. Because the Suns would have made the finals otherwise. Yeah. It was still the Spurs. Yeah.
The Suns got totally screwed.
But that was, no. And then the same thing happened with the Knicks and the Heat. I think Ewing missed a key game. Yep. I can't remember who did. In the 90s, everybody was missing games for
Charlie
this
Ward.
Kind of.
P.J. Brown flipping Charlie Ward in 97. That was a 3-1 series, and the Heat won the rest of the games.
Yeah, came back from 3-1 down.
And obviously, Draymond and LeBron, we talk about that all the time. In 2016, that was the big thing. You know what? This is... I'm sorry, Booker was too good. I'm sorry, Jokic was too good against Booker. The NBA cannot let that storyline go away. Two of the hottest players in the postseason we've ever seen. They're not going to suspend the Joker on this one.
They don't care. I really don't think they care. Maybe they should care, but they don't. But you're right. I mean, Booker's game was unbelievable. He's been so good in this postseason. And Joker had an unbelievable game, 53, and they still lose. So now the series is all tied up.
It's amazing. The Suns coach, I was wondering, Monty Williams, does he know what he's doing by letting Joker score? Is he saying it's going to take the rest of the team out? Because he's not trapping Joker nearly enough.
No, Joker has one-on-ones. I'm telling you, that floater shot that he has, like from the baseline, it's the new Kareem skyhook. That thing never misses. How does he do it?
Oh, he'll float it from anywhere. He could be 18 feet away from the basket. He does not miss shots, except he missed one at the end that kind of helped the Suns out. He is unbelievable. Booker's unbelievable. Durant played unbelievably yesterday. Yep. You gotta keep the party going, because this is probably, well, we'll see what the Lakers Warriors do. This is probably the best series right now. 2-2, and you're not positive who's going to win.
No, it's not. It's totally up for grabs now that it's tied 2-2. I mean, it was looking bleak there for Phoenix when they went down 0-2. Obviously, I think that. Listen. Is this the best series left? I got to think about that. Warriors-Lakers still has a shot. It's just the Warriors, I'm assuming that it's going to be their absolute best effort tonight. It has to be. This has got Steph game written all over it. I don't know if he's going to drop 50, but I bet it's going to be at least 35. This is just how it goes.
But this, you know what, though? This is just players playing at the peak of their games. Like, they didn't miss a shot the entire second half. That was the earlier game wasn't like that. Wasn't it 97-87 in game 2, which is weird.
I know.
Which I've never seen. I think Joker, Booker, and Durant are so incredibly skilled. The Lakers-Warriors is a much uglier series.
No, and now, I mean, between the 76ers and Boston, took overtime.
That's a mess.
That is not
I
a lot
love
of
it,
skill.
but it's a mess.
Okay.
And then anything with the Knicks is immediately ugly.
Well, that's a mess, too. We'll get to EJ with, I'm assuming, a lot of crying on the Knicks podcast after that game. Okay, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. The focus is really, until we find out what the NBA is going to do, are they going to suspend Jokic? And to be honest, it's after 3 o'clock Eastern time. This game is tomorrow. I mean, they've got to make a decision here fast. So we want to hear from you. Do you think that Jokic was in the wrong like I do? Listen, you might not like the owner. You might think he's this, entitled billionaire, whatever, took a flop in the front row. But the bottom line is you can't put your hands on anybody. And Jokic did not have to shove him like that with the forearm. Or do you believe, like Perloff, that
was a love tap? That was nothing. If he wanted to shove him, Joker weighs 300 pounds. He was close to it. He could have really shoved him.
Where are the Jokic brothers, by the way? Has anyone located these two dudes? Because those are the guys I'm really worried about.
Yeah, I do not want to get on the wrong side of the Jokic family at all. Okay,
want to hear from you guys. It's about us, but it's about you. What do you think of what happened yesterday and who's in the wrong? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We're going to hit the phones here. Want to get your reaction to this. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff. We're across the country on our CBS Sports Radio affiliates. You want to watch the show, you can do it. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And, of course, the absolutely free to download Odyssey app. We're also streaming Sirius XM channel 158. Jokic or the Suns owner? Who do you got? Get to your phone calls in just moments. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. This is Maggie Gray with a CBS Sports Minute. We're watching NBA history in these playoffs, not LeBron or Steph Curry, but Devin Booker. The Suns superstar has been unstoppable in the last 2 games, scoring 83 points on nearly 80% shooting, despite facing double teams and only attempting 6 free throw attempts per game. As for the playoffs as a whole, Booker shooting over 60% from the floor, including over 50%.
3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To walk into this building and not see his smiling face.
Back on Maggie and Perloff.
Elbowing the fan. So, but the fan put the hand on me first. So I thought the league's supposed to protect us or whatever. So, but maybe I'm wrong. So we will see.
Did you happen to know who the fan was?
He's a fan of. He's on the. I know who is, but he's a fan, isn't he? If he's a sitting
Phoenix Suns owner.
Sitting on the courts, and he's a fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's a. So whoever it is, and he's a fan, he cannot influence the game by holding the ball.
That was Nikola Jokic talking about the altercation yesterday that earned him a technical foul. Yes, the fan is the new owner of the Phoenix Suns. And listen, the owner was holding the ball, but Jokic definitely gave him a forearm that sent him back to his seat, like, you know, kind of flopping backwards.
Yeah, flop is the key word because that was a total flop.
Well, but listen, he definitely put the forearm into the owner. You can't do that. If the NBA wanted to suspend Jokic, they absolutely have it within their right to do it.
Here's why I don't think they will, because the NBA does not want the story to get any bigger, because they do not want the owners involved in the game like that, like grabbing the ball and holding on to it. They do not want the owners in that light. So the last thing they want is to blow this up.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We want to hear from you on this. Let's head out first to Chip, who's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Chip, you're up first here on CBS Sports Radio. Who's in the wrong here, Jokic or the owner of the Suns?
The Joker, I got multiple points on this, okay? So I don't know whose responsibility it is, but I'm going to assume it's the ref's responsibility to get the ball. And Joker did not walk over there. He jogged over there. He tried to physically remove the ball. And if you watch, there's more than one camera angle. He looked directly into the guy's eyes. Owner or no owner, it doesn't matter. He looked directly in his eyes, looked away. The fan behind him put his hands on the Joker. Then, to me, the Joker flopped and acted like he didn't try to push him. He pushed him. The Joker's 6'10". It doesn't take much for a man that's 6'10" to move a normal-sized human being, okay?
Yes.
And then let's not act like he didn't just physically hurt one of the Morris brothers not too long ago.
Well,
so to me, he's in the wrong. He put himself in a bad situation. He instigated everything. I get it. Nobody wants him suspended for the entertainment standpoint, but this could have been like Ron Artest all over again. It could have been really bad.
Well, okay, Chip, listen, I agree with you about Jokic. He's in the wrong here. If the NBA wanted to suspend him, they absolutely could. You cannot put your hands on anybody in the arena. You know, not a fan, not an owner, whatever you want to call Ishbia.
What if a fan puts his hands on you? Then does the rules change?
I don't think the rules change. I think that the player is supposed to be the bigger person. Like, they're the ones who are supposed to walk away. Now, to say it's going to become like the next Ron Artest or Metta World Peace, I mean, we're not even close to that. This did not rise to the malice in the palace at all. But, like, you have to walk away just like Jamal Murray seconds before walked away from the situation. You don't have to stick around. You don't have to jog over and try to get the ball back. Like, the referee has got to inbound the ball. The Chip's totally right.
Yeah, but a lot of times you see players run and try and get that process to go through, and the ref will give it right back to you, and you can keep the ball moving. But here's the thing. There's got to be a line. You say that you can't put your hands on a person. Of course you can't. But if somebody puts your arm on your shoulder, you're allowed to forcefully remove that arm. So there are situations where you can touch a fan if that fan is touching you. This sounds very weird.
Yeah, I know. It sounds a little bizarre, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do think that there's really no one rule that works here. That's why I give Joker the exception. I don't think they're going to suspend him.
Anthony is in South Carolina, thinks this is all crazy. What's up, Anthony?
I think Chip is a little mad, by the way, about Aaron Rodgers leaving and the Bucs being eliminated. He was a little hostile.
Maybe there's a little Giannis versus Jokic MVP stuff there too. I don't know.
He had a little aggression in his voice, but real quick, I think Jokic was totally innocent here. I mean, you got to think about it from a player standpoint. You're rushing to the ball. You're in the prime. You're in your zone. You want to keep that ball moving. Now, you got to think about it from a manager and owner's point of view. He could be doing this deliberately, and again, like Perloff said, we just watched an old-fashioned WWE fall to the floor match there. A little dramatic. How do we know he wasn't doing this intentional, try to get Jokic, their best player, disqualified for the next game? I don't think they'll suspend him. If anything, they need to send a fine to the manager and say, listen, we know you've been here 5 minutes, but you can't do that.
Yeah, so thank you, Anthony. Matt Ishbia is a former walk-on at Michigan State, so played for Tom Izzo, was on the 2000 team that won the national championship, but really as a bench warmer. So he is very well-versed in being the guy who's got to come off the bench. Hey, go flop out there. Go be gritty. Go be the guy who's the agitator. Grab the ball from somebody, you know.
But not on the – I think in college he was doing the same thing he did last night. He was on the bench the entire time.
Probably.
So trying to affect the game any way you can. And I think that's deeply, inside of him. So he did it last night. But, he did tweet today saying that Joker should not be suspended. For the same reason, I think he's a little embarrassed. I would hope he's embarrassed. He's a first-time owner who's getting in a scuffle with a player. That's ridiculous.
So he tweeted, great win for the Suns last night, an amazing series so far. That should be and is the only story. Suspending or fining anyone over last night's incident would not be right. I have a lot of respect for Jokic and don't want to see anything like that. Excited for Game 5. Go Suns. I mean, what kind of an owner are you? Honestly, don't you want the Suns to win this game?
Like he said, anyone, by the way, including himself.
Including himself. He doesn't want to get banned from the arena.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. I think that if I'm the owner, I've already part of this tussle, this hubbub. You think Mark Cuban would ever tweet, I don't want anyone suspended? He'd be like, no, suspend his ass. Like, it's going to make it better for your team. You got to be all in, Ishbia.
No, I think this is really bad for the NBA. If they're encouraging people in the crowd to get involved with these players.
Well, they're not.
Well, I mean, if Ishbia got him suspended intentionally,
Oh, you think more people would try to bait the players?
I think the owners are really worried. They get a lot of money by having all these people up close. They do not want to kill that cash cow by getting a player suspended for.
Well, nothing's going to change people sitting courtside.
I think so. I mean, I think if it becomes a problem where it's interfering with the competitive action of the game, you don't think first of all, it never used to be like that. It used to be the media who were sitting courtside. This is all new, this sort of setup. Yeah, I don't think it's that obvious that it stays like this because they are right there. If they start interfering with games, the NBA has no choice. They're going to have to change something.
Oh, but you said it. It's such a cash cow. Like, you'd need Malice in the Palace Part 2 before they'd get rid of those seats.
An owner just got in a fight with a player. I mean...
Don't you remember when the part owner of the Warriors had an altercation when he was in the front row with Kyle Lowry during the finals? And I believe that guy got fined like $500,000 and can no longer be a part owner.
The NBA hates that stuff. They do not...
Yeah, but they didn't move everyone in the front row. They just came down hard on that guy.
Yeah, that's why... My point is the NBA is going to be consistent here. They're not going to penalize a player because they're definitely protecting the players in this situation.
Okay, but I also just got someone who paid, $4 billion for a franchise? I mean, he doesn't get any benefit of the doubt at all? Someone who just paid $4 billion, the highest ever for an NBA team?
I don't think he wants to start off his ownership with that embarrassing a note of getting Joker suspended. I think that'd be a disaster for him. Can you imagine him going to those first NBA owners meetings and like, you're the guy who screwed up the series?
Those owners sat around with Donald Sterling and way more embarrassing people for years.
Yeah, but none of that was competitive, though. I don't know. I just think like he's a former basketball player. This is the last thing he wants to do is to affect the series.
See, I don't think we know about this guy enough. Clearly, he wants some attention. You don't buy an NBA franchise when you're a billionaire if you don't want the attention. There's a million other things you can put your money into. You know, being an owner of a sports franchise is going to bring you a certain amount of celebrity. And we don't know who this guy is. He could be the next Mark Cuban. We have no idea.
He doesn't want to be a heel. I mean, he doesn't want to be the bad guy.
Well, if he gets Joker suspended, he's not going to be a heel to the Phoenix Suns fans. He's going to be a hero.
I think he'd be a joke. Don't you? I mean, that's why he tweeted that. He does not want, that would not be what I would want as an owner. Would you? I mean, did I grab the ball and got the star player suspended?
Listen, means to an end, man. Like, ends justify the means, whatever. What did Machiavelli say? You don't think these guys are like cutthroat and cunning to get their way to be billionaires? If Jokic gets suspended and the Suns go on and win this game, everyone just say this is just payback for the Steve Nash and the Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw situation.
I think that guy,
was that, 2007 or something?
I think that guy would be so embarrassed that he wouldn't even show up the next game. He would be so humiliated.
How about Bryce is in Phoenix? He's got a thought on this. Hey, Bryce, how are you?
Hey, good. I think in a way they're both at fault, right? And if Jokic gets suspended, then I think Ishbia has to sit out a game or two and get a huge fine, right? But I don't think anybody here is clearly at fault. And I actually don't think Jokic should get suspended. I think they should just let him play. I mean, the series has been good. Why interrupt that?
And you're a Suns fan.
I am, yes.
See, I get what you're saying, but by the letter of the law, I think there is enough there to suspend Jokic. Bryce, thank you for the phone call. And honestly, suspending the owner doesn't do diddly squat. I mean, sorry, billionaire can't watch the game up close. Something tells me he'll be okay.
Yeah, I also think there's precedent here. It'd be another problem. Say they suspended Jokic for a game. Then what are you telling every fan in all these arenas for the rest of the playoffs? Get involved. You can affect the outcome, and that is not a message to lead. That's remember the Malice at the Palace? It was the worst thing that ever happened in the NBA. They put in about 75 rules and made 600 statements.
Yeah,
they do not.
That was also very extreme.
Right. But they don't want to open up any kind of negative impact from these kids, from people being up that close.
Well, but the only thing is that you do it at your own peril, because the thing is if you want to mess with a player, the odds are you're getting kicked out forever.
Right.
Like, this is different because Jokic really did put the forearm into it, and maybe because it's the owner, whether you think that should be different or not, that's just like the facts. But if I'm a fan, I'm taking a major risk if I'm going to go out there and try to do something stupid or try to bait a player into something.
Yeah, but a lot of those people are hammered up front.
Well, that's another part of it, the alcohol part of it.
And yeah, I don't
know if that played a factor in this. I don't know if the owner was drinking.
all you need is one fan to want to help the team that would do it. And also, if you're that rich that you're up front, you probably feel like you're invulnerable. I do not like the precedent this would set at all, because first of all, it's dangerous. What other sport do you have people who are 2 feet from the action? There's nothing I can think of.
Well, in hockey, they put a glass in front of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're totally separate.
I mean, baseball, but you have the net. Yes, EJ?
Yeah, I was going to say, in baseball, I mean, how many games have we seen won? Like, the Yankees went to a World Series in part because a kid grabbed
Jeffrey
the ball.
Mayer.
Yeah, Jeffrey Mayer grabbed the ball over the railing. Like that happens. In some ways, in baseball, it's actually, like, encouraged, especially if it's against a road team. You're saying, hey, make sure you go try to grab that foul ball. Like, don't let the guy go and catch it. Like, what happened with Jokic in baseball would have been normal.
Well,
but there's a natural distance in baseball by the design of the field.
Just a wall.
Yeah, well, but you remember Jeffrey Mayer leaned over the wall.
No, I know, but it's still
Yankees against the Orioles.
But you would say, in general, the outfield, you can yell at the guy all day long, but you're not 2 feet away from him. You're about 30 feet or 10 feet higher.
If you're going for a foul ball or a home run ball or whatever.
I totally understand, but imagine the entire game. What if the first baseman and third base line had 25 people standing along it who were heckling the third baseman from a foot away?
Yeah, right.
LeBron was sitting next to a little girl.
I don't know why those two little girls.
I mean,
it was adorable, but
I don't understand too. And there are people who come onto the court all the time.
Yeah, there's people who come onto the court when they're like, late coming back to their seat in the third quarter and stuff like that. Now,
imagine if a guy was running to first and somebody who's coming back from getting their hot dog in the stands and tripped them. That comes so. I know it's the old Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah,
I am so worried that somebody. We're watching some highlights right now. I mean, these guys are closer than the coach to the actual action. So it's a very dangerous situation. And the NBA is making a lot of money, clearly. They are not going to want to risk this.
Well, that's why it was part of the gray area of this whole situation with Jokic and the owner was like, the rule is the player can't go into the stands if it's not a live ball. Like if they're not trying to save a ball from going out of bounds or something like that. But where do the stands begin? Because that front row is the stands. It's their bench, but it's also the stands. So did Jokic, he was going over there for a non-live ball situation, but at the same time, how far into the front row do you have to be in the stands, quote unquote?
Well, how far? I mean, LeBron in Game 3, when he was doing that fake hustle thing on the tip pass and went into the tunnel and ran through all the crowd clearly, and then later said, man, I saved a layup there. Did you see that play? Yeah. It was ridiculous. Dude, you don't call it your own hustle. Way to go, LeBron. Anyway, he was 70 rows deep because he's old and he can't stop like me.
Yeah, just like you.
He was, basically, he ran out into the vending area. It was ridiculous. So I think you could easily argue that felt like it was close enough to being in the field of play. Also, was Joker, how far was he from the court when he actually elbowed the guy? He was right on the sideline.
Yeah, he was right on the sideline, but the play was over. It was dead. It was out of bounds. And that's when he came over, and that's when players shouldn't go into the stands, quote unquote. It's not like you're chasing a loose ball and you're trying to save it from going out of bounds. It was over. He didn't have to run over there. He wasn't going to get that fast break started because the Phoenix Suns guy was still untangling himself from the cameraman, and the ref was over there trying to sort everything out.
I would say, though, you wouldn't say it was in the stands, though, because he's basically standing in the same spot where he would have inbounded the ball. He was right by the court. He was 2 feet from the court.
I know, but that's the thing. Where do the stands start? That's a gray area.
To me, that was not the stands. But, yeah, I mean, players go way, way deeper into the stands after loose balls.
Definitely. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so we'll continue to monitor this, whether or not the NBA is going to take action here against Jokic or against the Suns owner. We'll bring you all the latest as soon as we get it. Coming up, you know him for his famous sayings, but there's a new documentary out about Yogi Berra. We're going to talk to the executive producer of It Ain't Over, Lindsay Berra. Timeless story about Yogi, things you never would have heard. Take a little bit of a left turn here, then we're back to basketball and football in just moments. We'll do that next, right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. This second-round series between the Knicks and Heat appears to be a battle of attrition right now. Jimmy Butler returns Saturday from a one-game absence to lead Miami to a wire-to-wire victory. The Knicks' Jalen Brunson said the Heat struck first, and they never got up.
For us, we just have to be better. We got to withstand that and just just come back. And I think we do a good job of responding. It's for us, we just got to respond again.
Brunson has been nursing a sore ankle. Now his backup, Emmanuel, quickly also suffering from an ankle injury and is uncertain for tonight. The Warriors and Lakers are the second part of the doubleheader in L.A. The Lakers took Game 3 on their home floor and look to continue the Warriors' season-long struggles on the road. One game in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. The Oilers host the Golden Knights with that series even at 1. The NHL Draft Lottery will be held tonight. The Ducks, Blue Jackets, and Blackhawks all the best chances of securing the top pick, the chance to select Connor Bedard. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
We are CBS Sports Radio, and our Twitter handle is @CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff. All right, we're going to take a bit of a departure, but we think it's more than worth it. And you're listening to the song, It Ain't Over Till It's Over. Well, that was a famous phrase that was coined by, we all know, Yogi Berra. He had many, many more, including when you come to a fork in the road, take it. And it's like deja vu all over again.
Oh, yeah. And Maggie, you know I have 2 personal yogiisms, too.
What do you got?
Well, I'm going to save them because I want to share them with our guests.
Okay, so Lindsay Berra is not only the granddaughter of Yogi Berra, she's also the executive producer of It Ain't Over, which is a documentary about the life of Yogi Berra. Lindsay's joining us right now. If you want to watch, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Lindsay, thanks so much. Congratulations on the film. Oops. Oh, we're getting some technical. Okay, here you are. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. Okay, before we get to Perloff's personal stories about Yogi, what makes his story so timeless in your opinion?
I think that it's timeless because as great as Grandpa was on the baseball field, he was such an accessible human, and there's so much about his story that is relatable to people. He was a first-generation Italian immigrant. So many of us are immigrants ourselves, or sons and daughters, or grandsons and granddaughters of immigrants. He was a veteran. He served in the D-Day invasion as a machine gunner on the back of a rocket boat, providing cover fire for our troops going ashore at Omaha Beach. So as a veteran, there's tons of folks that can relate to that. He has this beautiful 65-year love story with my grandmother that is very prominently on display in the movie, and it is touching to anyone. You do not have to be a baseball fan to enjoy that part of the documentary. He was a great father, a great grandfather. There's just so much about his story that endears him to people, and that's what I think is so great about the film. Like, you're going to get the baseball fix, and you're going to realize what a tremendous player he was, and I believe folks have kind of forgotten that because the yogiisms kind of transcended everything at the end of the day. But you're going to learn about what a great baseball player he was, but as good as he was on the field, he was a better human being.
Lindsay, how do you think Yogi would have fit in today's, say he was at the height of his athletic powers right now, as a current athlete with social media and everything, how do you think Yogi would have fit in today?
The social media, I have no idea what he would have done with that. I mean, he would have had to have someone follow him around all the time and just tweet everything he said. It probably would have been a really big hit. As far as the game today, I mean, folks say that guys back then couldn't play, but I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Grandpa was 5'8" and 192 pounds, and he used a 34-inch, 35-ounce bat that he manhandled through the strike zone. You know, you take 4 ounces off of that bat, and he can serve. I mean, he would say all the time too that there were guys that were throwing super hard back then too. They just didn't have the radar guns or the technology to get it. Anything that they measured back then was done from 10 feet behind home plate. If you adjust that to 10 feet in front of the pitcher's mouth, you're making up a lot of time. So maybe they weren't all throwing 102. But there were guys throwing really hard, and I think Grandpa really would have held his own, especially behind the plate. God, the defensive catching skills, he was just so good.
Lindsay, so I had the honor of producing a show that your grandfather was involved in. It was called Yogi in a Movie for Yes Network.
I love this.
And I went out to the museum in Montclair, New Jersey, and Bob Lorenz of the Yes Network was a host, and Yogi would talk about these movies. It was the greatest thing ever. And I told everybody, you meet Yogi, his hand, it's just so strong. Like his hands, like, even as he was older, I almost broke my hand. So you that thing about the bat does not surprise me at all. He was short but strong as all get out. Do people know that, do you think?
I don't know, but I mean, even when he was 90 years old, his calves were like bowling balls. What year was Yogi in a movie? That was in the 90s, right?
No, 2007, I believe.
All right. Well, so around probably I was in college, so around like 98-ish, I was home. We used to watch a lot of boxing matches. My grandpa, he was actually an undefeated boxer in the Navy. Nobody knows that about him.
Wow.
And I walked into the house one night doing like fake little jabs, like, "Hey, Grandpa, you ready to watch the fight?" And he was doing it back to me, and I walked into a little rabbit punch that caught me on the side. He bruised my kidney. I peed blood for a week. He was like an almost 80-year-old man at the time. So you talk about those like meat hook hands. He was strong as an ox.
Well, I hope that story doesn't get out the wrong way, by the way.
It was not abuse. I walked right into it. We were just having fun.
Lindsay Berra is our guest. She's the granddaughter of Yogi Berra. She's also the executive producer of It Ain't Over, has had a long, distinguished journalism career in her own right. Of course, you can watch It Ain't Over. It's going to be released in theaters in the New York area and in Los Angeles this Friday, and then adding theaters after that. You know, obviously you were very close with your grandfather, Lindsay. I mean, teammates with DiMaggio and Mantle. I mean, knew Jackie Robinson, even knew Babe Ruth. Like, what did he tell you guys about these larger than life figures? What did he tell you they were really like?
He didn't talk too much about, you have to ask him a really pointed question to get him to really discuss the old times. You know, he liked to talk about a lot of like the team accomplishments, but what they were really like, I mean, these guys were his buddies, like just his pals, his family, really, when you think about it, because he was with the Yankees. He played 18 years straight with the Yankees. So Mickey Mantle, like these guys were like brothers to him by the time this was all over with. And I remember, you know, being a kid and Mantle and Rizzuto, Eddie Lopak, Gil McDougall, Hank Bauer, Moose Skowron, like these guys would just be like in and out of the house. They were Grandpa's pals. Jackie Robinson unfortunately passed away in 1972, but Grandpa and Grammy Carmen remained close with Rachel Robinson. She was at his 90th birthday party. So, you know, as you know, those were figures that were larger than life, but they were such a part of Grandpa's life on a personal level that, you know, he didn't think of himself as famous. He didn't really think of his friends as famous. They were like just his buddies.
Lindsay, so in the movie, I saw the trailer. I haven't been able to see the movie yet. I saw, of course, there was Bob Costas, there was Billy Crystal. What are some of the voices who got to weigh in on Yogi in the documentary?
So right when we first started off, the moment I met director Sean Mullen, I started, you know, hounding him. We've got to get Vin Scully. We've got to get Audrey Garagiola. I wanted Tony Kubek, Bobby Richardson, Hector Lopez, Ralph Terry, anybody who was left alive who had either played with or seen Grandpa play. Roger Angel from The New Yorker was 100 when we interviewed him, and sharp as a tack. And I just wanted folks who would be able to talk about what Grandpa looked like on the field and how he was able to contribute to the team, how he was able to make pitchers better, how important his bat was in the Yankees lineup. And that really comes across through the voices of these folks that we were able to interview who actually saw him play or actually played with him.
Lindsay Berra is our guest. She's the granddaughter of Yogi Berra, the executive producer of It Ain't Over, which is in theaters in New York and LA this Friday, and then adding more theaters after that. Lindsay, last one for me, and again, thanks so much for joining us. I mean, we mentioned the Yogi-isms, you know, a nickel ain't worth a dime no more, you know, baseball's 90% mental, the other half is physical. All these things that have lived on, like, where do you think your grandfather's place is in, like, Americana, in, like, the history of this country? Because everyone knows these famous sayings.
My best friend Alyssa, she writes for ESPN. She and I always joke that Jesus and Shakespeare used to be the most quoted guys in the world, but Grandpa knocked them off a while ago. It is crazy to see how often that he's quoted. I get a Google alert every day, and with Yogi Berra, and it's very often like some obscure story about politics or economics or the price of oil or something, and it's tough to make predictions, especially about the future.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the future ain't what it used to be, but they're really he had such a direct and simple way of looking at the world. I just say he was really able to kind of cut through all the crap and call a spade, and they're really applicable in so many everyday life situations. I say it's deja vu all over again all the time. I'm on a journey on which I am chronically lost but making good time. There's just so many that fit in so well with everyday life, and really well beyond the sports world.
All right, I got two quick Yogi lines that he said to me when we were doing this special Yogi in the movie. First of all, he was so unbelievably nice to everybody on set, including me. So he came in one morning. I shot there about 7 or 8 times. He goes, Andrew, I went to a bar mitzvah last night. It was a Wednesday night, and I couldn't figure out why there would be a bar mitzvah on a Wednesday night. And he was describing the whole thing. It turned out it was a Jewish Seder for Passover, but he kept calling it a bar mitzvah, which was
close enough.
Yeah, and then the other one was we were doing the movie Bad News Bears Go to Japan, a classic, I might add.
Yeah.
And we were about to shoot. Yogi would talk about the movie for a minute. I said, hey, Yogi, did you ever get to play in Asia? He goes, no, I never got to play in Asia. I played in Japan, but not Asia. So I don't know if he was, and he kind of was winking a little bit when he said it. Yeah. But he was really, really fun to be around. That's the other thing, too. I mean, I knew him when he was older, but he was a lot of fun to everybody on the set. Like, he never came off like a Hall of Famer. He came off much more like a normal guy.
Yeah, he didn't think of himself as a famous person. And I always say whatever you guys saw in the public was the exact same as the grandpa I got at home.
Mm-hmm.
He was just super down to earth and very normal, and picked up his own dry cleaning, and went out and bought his papers and his coffee every morning, sat in the same pew at church. I will say, if you guys haven't seen any of these Yogi in a movie reviews, give them a Google. There's an MLB.com article, and there's some on YouTube. The one about a fish called Wanda is particularly entertaining. He calls it a fish out of water, but they're really priceless.
That's
Lindsay,
awesome.
Congratulations on the film. It ain't over, and best of luck with everything moving forward. Again, New York area and Los Angeles. It's in theaters this Friday. Look out for more theaters and more dates after that. We really appreciate it. Congrats again.
Thank you so much. Everybody get out to the movies.
Appreciate that. Yeah, the yogiism, like, you better cut the pizza in 4 slices. I'm not hungry enough for 6, or 6. I can never eat 8, I think was the famous thing. That was fantastic. Thanks so much to Lindsay.
By the way, all right, there was some confusion here. So
yes.
He did an earlier show called Yogi in the Movie where he would review the movies.
What was this?
This was when he did A Fish Called Wanda. We did more of a classic wraparound for Yes Network, which is the Yankees network.
Oh, got it.
So I think this is 2 different things. So she must have been thinking about that. But this looks incredible. Yogi Berra reviewing A Fish Called Wanda sounds.
Calling it a fish out of water.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Kevin Kline movie? That sounds amazing. No, we did more. We did only baseball movies, and in the off season, all these baseball channels put on the crappiest baseball movies, like Bad News Bears, Break Training.
Yeah.
And to have Yogi talk for 3 minutes about a bad movie was one of the great joys of my life. Nobody had anything to say about these movies, so I'm like, can you connect this to Whitey Ford? He's like, okay, I'll try.
Way to make him work for it for a lot.
Yeah. You just throw in. I'm like, just drop a couple names, Yogi. You'll be fine.
Yeah, man. And how many famous people did he play with and then play against? And he himself has become, an icon. He was an icon, a 3-time MVP too. I mean, the guy was an incredible baseball player.
Which is wild too. The funny thing about the quotes is if there is a quote and people don't know who said it, a lot of times they'll assume it was Yogi.
Yeah, I mean,
there are a lot of statements like that Yogi didn't say that people think Yogi said.
Well, I mean, listen, he's got like over 50 sayings, and moments. So that should be pretty cool. If you're into baseball, or not even into baseball, but just into Americana, I feel like that's more Yogi Berra than anything. It is Maggie and Perloff. You are listening to us across the country on CBS Sports Radio. Of course, you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, where the Carson Wentz poster is still up. The challenge is on. Can we get 1,000 new subscribers to our YouTube page before the end of the NBA Finals, and then the Wentz poster gets destroyed live on our show? We've made some progress here, but we need you to go to youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio and subscribe. We were talking earlier about ways we're going to destroy the Wentz poster. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be
We'll see. We'll see.
We got to get there, though. All right, what are we expecting tonight? Game 4, Lakers, Warriors. We'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie's been on vacation, and do you remember how headphones work, Maggie? I'm just curious here. Are you concussed right now? What just happened?
Oh, we caught on the live stream. Great. I'm like literally crying.
It looked like you were putting on your headphones and one flip on your ear and hit you in the face. Are you okay?
No, my eyes are like tearing because I hit myself in the face with the headphones. We'll find it and we'll put it out on social media.
Is it going to be a situation where we're going to have a black eye tomorrow and everyone's going to think you're making it? I was trying to put on my headphones.
Yeah, right. That's a bad excuse. Like something's going on at home. No, everything's fine.
Luckily, we have it on the live stream, so we don't have to worry about it.
My eyes, it's pretty bad, right? Getting hit in the face with the headphones.
No.
I know.
Do you need some ice? Do you want us to run and get you some ice?
No, I don't want anything. I want to hear this Kawhi Leonard theory.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Yes, the day I hit myself in the face with headphones. Who could forget? Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you on this Monday. A lot going on today, so we'll get right to it. Perloff, you and I just don't see this thing the same. I see what happened with Jokic last night during a phenomenal game against the Suns, by the way, which the Suns won. They tie up the series 2-2. But Jokic, this is all overshadowed because he got into it with the Suns owner. Briefly, a little skirmish in the front row where Jokic is trying to grab the ball back from the owner who had grabbed it as the ball went out of bounds. And he's obviously sitting in the front row. And then Jokic gives a forearm to the owner. The owner flops back. Yeah, a little like Vlade Divac there, a little bit.
A little Marcus Smart.
A little Marcus Smart in him. But ultimately now the league has to decide. He was assigned a technical foul in the moment. A different fan, a separate fan, was kicked out of the arena for touching Jokic, kind of leaned over the front row to touch him. So the league's monitoring this. It's now 4 o'clock Eastern time. No decision on Jokic's future.
I'd be shocked if they suspend him because, first of all, it was very minor. The skirmish was minor. You could say that was a forearm shiver, but it wasn't the worst elbow I've ever seen. Secondly, I think the fact that the owner was involved, I don't think the owners want to raise this a level to a 4-alarm fire because I think this is sort of bad owner behavior too. And if you suspend him, then you're drawing more attention to bad owner behavior because you probably shouldn't have. The owner of Matt Ishbia held onto the ball a little too long. And third of all, what is this series if you take Joker out of it? I mean, the Nuggets were the other. Jamal Murray's been good, but the rest of the Nuggets came up really small yesterday. So I think you need Joker in this because this is a great competitive series. I guess that shouldn't play into it.
That should definitely not play into it.
Oh, come on. This is the NBA. You're telling me you think they're going to
suspended Draymond?
Yeah, but that's Draymond. I mean, this is way different. He's the leading. He scored 53 points yesterday. Draymond hasn't scored 53 points the entire playoffs. So
combined.
I mean, do you think they would suspend LeBron if it was a Game 7 Warriors-Lakers? No, they do. They do have a little bit of an idea of entertainment purposes.
They do, but listen, Suns fans don't have to go too far back when Amari Stoudemire was the second best player on that Suns team, and they suspended him after Robert Horry hip-checked Steve Nash into the side. And
he came off the bench.
I know, but so I'm just saying the league didn't think about the star power of the player in that instance. And it's not like Stoudemire came off the bench and then punched Robert Horry in the face. He just left the bench.
Yeah,
him and Boris Diaw.
They already had a real strong history of suspending guys for coming off the bench. What was it, EJ? We were talking earlier. They blew up an entire Knicks Heat series.
Yeah, the PJ Brown.
Which a much more popular, higher profile NBA at the time too. That was a huge deal. So I don't think they could take the 2-time MVP out of this for that.
Listen, did he put his hands on the guy or did he not? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case. That's it. That's the whole thing.
So if you were a commissioner, just to make that, you would suspend him.
I would. I think that, listen, you can't touch anybody. And you're supposed to be the player, the bigger person. This is not the malice in the palace, which, by the way, I would never defend what Ron Artest did. At that point, a fan threw a beer on him. I mean, what did the owner do? He sat there and he held on to the ball for a half a second. It's like, okay, you weren't going to get the fast break going anyway because you first have to give the ball to the official before you inbounds, and the official was helping the player up and trying to untangle Josh Okogie, the other player, the Suns player, up and trying to get all this sorted out. You weren't starting a fast break. So all of your effort to go over there and try to wrestle the ball away from who you thought was just a fan was for naught anyway.
How do you know you weren't starting a fast break? I mean, or at least picking up the pace, because that does happen a lot where the guy runs over, gets the ball, the official gives it right back to him. The official usually gives it right back to him. He never pauses.
I know, but did you see how much chaos and confusion was over in the corner? That was not just going to be like, that was going to take a second. Plus, they might have even tried to look and, go to replay to see who last touched it. Who knows?
So if you're Matt Ishbia, you're a new owner, you played college basketball, so apparently you have a competitive spirit.
Yes.
Do you really think...
And you're a billionaire.
I think it would be player code not to accept Joker getting kicked out. In fact, I think he calls the commissioner, says, do not kick out Joker for Game 5. Because he does not want to look like a fool.
It's not up to him.
Well,
it's up to the commissioner.
But it is, in a sense, he's the guy who got elbowed.
Well,
so I do think he's going to have
trouble too. By the way, like the commissioner, I know he works for the owner, so it's a little bit tougher. But he might come down on Ishbia. I bet he finds him.
Yeah, but Ishbia is not going to want to win this series because they suspended Joker because he got in a tussle with him. That's the last thing a new owner wants. I think, honestly, that's just such a dirty way to win, and it's such a cheap way to win. And you don't want that tag. That would define the rest of your ownership.
I know, but did anyone care that the Spurs beat the Suns when that happened? It was on a technicality. I mean, I just think that...
A technicality that had been well established.
Okay, but this one's been established. It's in the rules that you can't touch you cannot touch a coach, you can't touch a referee, and you can't touch a fan. So it's like...
In the rules when that fan is holding the ball?
It's a period, full stop. You can't touch a fan.
Wait. So obviously there's gray area there too. What if the fan is grabbing you?
Well, here's the thing. If you're in self-defense, but that's not what Joker was in.
The guy was holding the ball. Okay. You're actually trying to play a basketball game.
You want to know who's supposed to get the ball back from the fan? The ref. The ref's supposed to get the ball back.
But
they're not supposed to have those kind of interactions with fans. And listen, he lost his head in the moment. I'm not going to say I understand. I totally get it. But the bottom line is these are his actions.
It would be a brutal suspension. And again, because the owners role in it, I do not think it's happening.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Want to hear from you. Stu, do we have poll results on should Jokic be suspended?
We sure do. Should he be suspended? No said 85%, so just 15% said yes that he should be suspended.
The vocal minority is who is along with me.
That's a strong 15%.
We are polling at 15% right now. Just doesn't make me feel all that good.
You remind me earlier in the show, I do not think Draymond should have been suspended for stepping on that guy's chest. He didn't stomp on him.
Sabonis?
Yeah. I think that the NBA has to be careful, too, because if they set this precedent, I really think that you could, an industrious fan would jump in and say, ooh, maybe I can instigate one of these players.
But we know the difference. We definitely know the difference. And there's replay and everything. Like, if you are really goading a player, you're going to get kicked out and you're probably going to get banned for a year, if not more.
Yeah, but I mean, not if you don't have one of the highly sensitive players like Kyrie. Who are the guys? Kyrie?
Russell Westbrook.
Like
LeBron.
LeBron. Yeah, well...
But that's if you say something that crosses the line. We all know what we're talking about.
Guy who's a total jerk, basically, like Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I think Pat Beverly probably goes back and forth with the fans, guys like that.
Like the troublemakers that will get you kicked out.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Durant sometimes goes back and forth with the fans. Everybody's got their moment.
But like the cool guys like Joker and Booker, they're not going to get anybody kicked out. They're just focused on the game.
I'm sorry, you just made me think of something. We were talking about the Draymond stomp. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop thinking this weekend about when Joel Embiid stepped on Grant Williams. And I'm squeamish. I'm not somebody who can see blood. Like, I'm really bad with that. It's been haunting my dreams all weekend long. Anyone else? He basically curb stomped him. He didn't mean to, but he stepped on Grant Williams and his face went right into and then Williams' mouth was all bloody. This is Friday night. Anyone else getting the Weebies?
I mean, the slow-mo made it kind of tough, but I wasn't too bad.
Really? I do not have the stomach for this kind of thing.
Really? I was really worried about Marcus Smart. Because when he was flopping, his neck went back so hard, like he was in a car accident from basically a feather brush. The Celtics are so hateable. I do not care.
The Celtics are hateable.
Oh, Marcus Smart is disastrous.
Listen, Marcus Smart was 0.2 seconds away from being a hero. And instead, it turns out to be James Harden is the hero. Yeah, honestly, if I'd given you 100 guesses on who was going to be the hero coming out of this weekend basketball-wise, James Harden would not have cracked my top 100.
Well, except that he hit the three at the end of game one. But Marcus Smart wouldn't have been on your guesses. He's not a great shooter either.
No, but he would have had the game winner. Harden had the big three at the end of overtime, at the end of regulation. But then Marcus Smart would have had the game won.
Right, but it was
in overtime.
That was a clear half second after the buzzer. When he had a chance to actually win the game, he missed it. He's not a great shooter, but his flopping he's still flopping. Like the league hasn't figured this one out yet.
What are you gonna do? I mean, you just try not to call it.
Yeah, so he's a 32% career three-point shooter. I can't believe the Celtics really screwed up. That coach, by the way, his end of game, his last-minute calls, he's got to get Tatum or Brown with a last-second shot, not Smart.
Well, he's got to understand, and I'm sure he does, but you got to understand, hey, there's a reason why Marcus Smart's this open taking that shot. It's because the 76ers are going to live with that. Now, listen, it almost burned him. Smart was, you say a half a second, I think it might have been even a little bit less, where he almost got that shot off in overtime and won the game. But, of course, they'd rather have Smart be taking the shot than Jaylen Brown or Tatum.
I think everybody on the Sixers was confused by that last play. There's like 3 seconds left, and the Celtics were like, hey, let's begin an action now. That was pure chaos. What were the Celtics doing?
It was like college, and whenever there's like an end-of-game situation in college basketball, they always get into it too late.
All right. As long as we're jumping around here for a second, the Eastern Conference, you have the Sixers, the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Heat.
Yeah.
Are any of these teams at all above average? Because I see 4 medium teams, 4 teams that I think will get slaughtered in the West. And I thought the East was supposed to be good this year, but I see journeymen and undrafted free agents and G Leaguers all over these 4, and injured guys. And
that's just the Heat.
Oh, the Knicks have a lot of G Leaguers on them too. Like this is not a highly skilled Eastern Conference. I'm just going to put it out there.
Well,
the Sixers and Celtics are pretty good, but they're not great.
The Celtics were in the finals last year and had a 2-1 lead.
I don't know how that team, they do not look the same as last year to me. Maybe it's the coaching, but I don't think they're a great team. I think the West is going to kill the East in the finals.
It depends. It depends because at their peak of their powers, all of those Western Conference teams probably are better than the Eastern Conference teams, but they don't all play at the peak of their powers all the time. So, they're vulnerable. The Los Angeles Lakers playing the Warriors tonight. Both of those teams are incredibly vulnerable on a night-to-night basis.
Right. You know what? Back to the East has all the injuries right now, though. Jimmy, Embiid is clearly not himself. Tyler Hero's out for Miami.
Butler's playing on a sprained ankle. Julius Randle's playing on a severe ankle.
Yeah, the Knicks have injuries. So that's the other thing, too. We say this today. This is Monday. By next Monday, all the injuries might be in the West because it's not like the Lakers and the Suns are durable.
Well, here's the thing, right? The Suns have a major injury to Chris Paul, but look at what's happened ever since he's left the game. I mean, granted, it also meant they came home. It's a little bit different than playing in Denver, but to win 2 games, and it's really impossible not to notice the impact of the bench. I mean, they've had to go to the bench, which got notoriously thin after the Kevin Durant trade, but it's been more successful for them.
I think
can it hold up? I have no idea. Landry Shamit's not going to be doing that kind of thing all series long.
I think if Paul was healthy, the Suns win this series, and I think Paul not being healthy, the Nuggets win because they could have easily won Game 2. That was really close. It was third quarter. I think the Nuggets had just gone ahead when Paul got hurt, but it was going to be a close game. I think they missed him pretty dearly last night. They're going to need a shot maker. I like the Nuggets in this series, assuming they don't follow your advice and suspend Jokic. I still think the Nuggets are so much more well-rounded than the Suns.
What I'm saying is you would be in your right, if you're the NBA, to suspend Jokic for putting the forearm into the Suns owner last night. If it's just by the letter of the law, they can do it. Now, will they? I don't know.
Do you want the other owners to be like, okay, if I can get their start, do you want Josh Harris of the Sixers to come down and get Jason Tatum suspended? No, you don't want the owners making news that way. That's the last thing the league wants.
All right, we're monitoring the league. So the later this goes, do you think it's better or worse for Jokic?
I have no idea. It's getting close. The game's tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, we're every other day now.
It is weird that I thought something would come up by Showtime. I think it's probably better. They're not going to last second hit the Nuggets with a suspension because they have a lot of planning to do, I would assume. Like, where are we going to get that 53 points?
Hey, guys, someone's going to have to pick up those 53 points and 10 assists that Jokic has every night. Who's going to do it? Aaron Gordon? Can we count on you for 50 points?
Next man up.
Yeah, that's right.
Watch Jokic. Well, I'll bet you Aaron Gordon. What's the most Aaron Gordon's ever scored in his career? Check that out. But I think, actually, the funny thing is the Nuggets don't seem to play well when Joker scores all his points. They mentioned that on the broadcast last night. That's not what Joker wants to do at all.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team was kind of deferring to him. I think they could win without him.
Well, they're going back to Denver, so you do get the home court of the Mile High and the altitude. They could win without him.
I mean, Jamal Murray can go nuts. We've seen that.
Yep.
And then Gordon's a former All-Star, and Michael Porter.
It's been tough.
He's a knucklehead.
Well, it's just been tough.
Michael Porter, career high, 39 points against the Rockets in 2021.
I said Aaron Gordon.
What about Aaron Gordon?
Yeah.
41 against the Nets in 17.
There you go. So you
they can work with that.
They get the game
What were
of your
the
life.
2017 Nets looking like, by the way? Was that a Jared Dudley team with Spencer Dinwiddie and
Aaron Gordon was an all-star in
Harris
Orlando,
LeVert?
right?
D'Angelo Russell led the Nets in scoring in that game. He had 29 points.
Yeah, how about D'Angelo Russell now having a little bit of a moment right before he's about to hit free agency?
Wait, so I thought Aaron Gordon was an all-star in Orlando. No, he wasn't?
No. Dunk contest. I don't know about all-star, though.
Yeah. I'm so
confused.
blinded.
He was there. He just was he was there the night before. Yeah.
Did he never score 20 points a game? Let's see. All right. No, not really. He scored 17 points and had 9 rebounds a game in 2018.
Those Orlando teams were bad.
Yeah.
Evan Fournier was leading them in scoring.
Evan Fournier.
Now he can't get off the bench.
Well, I mean, I'm glad
They may need him.
I'm glad the vibes are better around the Knicks now, but Evan Fournier, that's going to be an all-timer. Ooh, what do you get? $70 million guaranteed?
Yeah.
855-212-4CBS. Yes, Perloff?
Gordon's having a good postseason. He's scoring 14 points a game, kind of D'ing up Durant. But last night, Durant's like, that's enough of that. I'm going to go back to old Kevin Durant. What is it with the playoffs? I know we keep it. Every player, every other game. It's a yo-yo. So
they're all load managing.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
I love your theory that they're load managing within series.
I definitely think they are. I think they've got data about, where they have to strategically pick their spots. And you and I were talking about this before the show. It's like, it seems like when you get to a certain margin, unless it's like a game 6 or game 7 or something, teams just wave the white flag.
Yep.
And this is a problem here with the NBA, I think, because when it gets to like 15 points and you have like 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter, it's like, well, all right, maybe we're just going to save this up and everybody rest. Like, I'm expecting Steph Curry to have a monster night tonight because you barely played in the last game.
Yeah.
That was such a blowout. No one was playing in the fourth quarter. You should be rested.
Well, also,
everybody.
I think he'll improve automatically if Clay throws to the right team once in a while instead of throwing it to the other team. What happened there?
Should we check his eyesight? I don't know.
I have no idea.
They had 12 turnovers in the first half.
I mean,
his dad's a Laker, so he grew up watching.
That's a good point.
He's
former number 1 pick, right?
Yeah,
Michael Thompson.
Still does the radio for them.
Clay goes up and down. James Harden is ridiculously up and down. Anthony Davis is up and down. You name it. Everybody cannot put together 2 good games. Except for Joker and Booker. That's about it.
That's basically it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. The question today, do you think that Nikola Jokic should be suspended for Game 5 for his tiff altercation? What are we going to call this? Does it rise to the level of an altercation? I think so.
No.
Altercation with the owner of the Suns.
Okay. Altercation doesn't necessarily mean physical.
Yeah, they were. It did get physical, though. Jokic pushed him.
Oh, come on. Come on. If it got physical, then Ishbia would have been in big trouble.
That's true. Peter Tollner's in our chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Joker's 2 brothers are the scariest dudes on the planet.
Yeah,
you also have to factor that in if you're the NBA, the Jokic brothers.
Is that why Ishbia had that nice tweet saying Jokic should not be suspended? He's afraid of his Serbian brothers.
These dudes are big and they are menacing. Yeah. I can see somewhere, like, if this was a movie, Ishbia is actually like being held hostage, like, could someone dictate the tweet?
Episode 24.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know who's not going to take out Jokic? DeAndre Ayton on Jokic is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life. Get Ayton off the court. Cut that dude. He's terrible.
I think they would have traded him for like anything if they could have gotten a deal.
Yeah, for one of Jokic's Serbian brothers.
Just come in there just to run security. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, one NFL team could be in big trouble, and it's for the last reason you would have ever imagined. We'll get to that in just a moment. You're listening to Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. So it's been a week since the draft, and there's a lot of post-draft analysis, not a lot of news. We're waiting for the schedule release. Then I'm scrolling through this weekend, and there was an interesting headline that the Commanders last year contacted every team in the league looking for a quarterback.
Yeah.
And they also apparently called Andrew Luck.
Well,
was it last year or 2 years ago?
Apparently, they even called Kansas City about Patrick Mahomes.
You know what's funny?
Like, all right.
We already knew that. Don't you remember that we knew that Washington had called about Patrick Mahomes? I even think Ron Rivera basically said to us when we interviewed him at the Super Bowl, we're going to look everywhere.
I know, but that's one of those. That's such a waste of your time. You can't. I don't care if you feel like you've got nothing to do that day. Calling the Kansas City Chiefs about Patrick Mahomes is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I actually thought this story was kind of a story that was supposed to be embarrassing for the Commanders for a totally different reason, and now it's embarrassing for them.
Well, yeah, no, but this is the amazing thing about it. So the story came out from ESPN, and then Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, tweeted that if any NFL team attempted to contact Andrew Luck or any associate of him to play for their franchise, it would be a clear violation of the league's tampering policy. So here's where we are right now. How dumb do you have to be as a franchise to get outflanked by Jim Irsay of the Colts and lose a draft pick for tampering, which is the likely conclusion of this story because they're very sensitive to tampering. They took a pick away from the Dolphins.
Yep.
They oversaw the Cardinals had to give up a pick to the Eagles. It turned out to be some sort of weird trade because the Cardinals clearly tampered to hire Jonathan Gannon, the former Eagles defensive coordinator. So now the Commanders get a parting gift from Dan Snyder. Likely or possibly they're going to get a tampering charge. To me, this is just perfect Washington Commanders. It's right on brand.
It is so on brand. The fact that they could get a draft pick taken away shows that there is no bottom. It's not even just the off the field stuff with Dan Snyder and how reprehensible he is, but then the on the field stuff. You guys can't even do that right.
Yeah,
it's how it's such a good point. You get outfoxed by Jim Irsay, you should have to get relegated or something. I don't know. You should have to lose your team for a year. I don't know what's going on. There has to be a bigger penalty. And then, by the way, they couldn't get any of these guys, including Andrew Luck, who, by the way, we saw Andrew Luck. Didn't he do the ceremonial coin toss or something at the college football playoff when it was in Indy? He's 40 pounds lighter. He looks like a college student, which he is. He's like a stay-at-home dad. Why did you think Andrew Luck was going to come out of retirement to play for the Commanders? Whatever. The fact is, after all these quarterbacks said no, they pivoted to who else but our buddy behind you, Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Started a whopping 7 games for them before he had a broken thumb.
Can I stick up for Irsay a little bit? This has not been... The decision to get Jeff Saturday midway through last season was a disaster.
Yes.
And laughable. But before that, I don't think anyone considered the Colts really a joke franchise. They had won a lot.
No, I don't think so.
They basically...
Irsay's an eccentric.
Irsay has a very troubled past.
Yes.
He's in recovery now.
Yeah.
Also, there was a murder. There was an accidental death that he was associated with that was a lot of trouble for everybody. But they've had mostly winning seasons because they've been Peyton Manning straight into Andrew Luck.
Sure.
And even since Andrew Luck retired, they've had a couple winning seasons. And now I think it might all worked out because I'm sorry, I saw Anthony Richardson practicing this weekend, little video. He's about to tear up the NFL. There is no doubt in my mind. The Colts are going, basically, they found their next superstar. So they are done. Irsay is going to accidentally be a winning owner.
I worry about you being on this Anthony Richardson bandwagon as heavy and hard as you are.
Oh, I'm not alone. It's a wildly popular bandwagon already.
Listen, we all love Richardson. I think we're all rooting that this is going to work out because it's going to be a lot more fun if there's a quarterback like Anthony Richardson in the league than if he ends up being a bust. Nobody wants to see that. But I'm getting shades of Trey Lance here from you. Like love Trey Lance. You were on the Trey Lance bandwagon. And
well, first of all, the Niners, if they had the Colts at the very least, the worst case scenario, they decide, okay, Anthony Richardson's not a great thrower. He's not running the offense.
Yeah.
We're going to run the ball 50 times a game. And we got our Hall of Fame lineman in Quentin Nelson. We got our Hall of Famer back on defense in Shaq Leonard. So I think they can just run him and still win a bunch of games. And they even admitted it. They said we don't need him to throw for more than 100 yards. So if the Niners had run Trey
more
Lance,
than 100 yards, I mean that's not very much.
Well,
I think very
that was
low bar.
Yeah,
especially when you play half your games indoors.
That's what I think the coach or the OC said. He can go 9 for 20 for 100 yards and then run for 115 yards, and we'll win games that way. So if the Niners did that with Trey Lance, they might have won some games. They did win games with Trey Lance.
Well, the whole reason we got into this is because now the Colts might have another draft pick coming their way because the Washington Commanders reached out to Andrew Luck. I mean, nobody thought like, hey, we know he's retired, but like, do the Colts still have his rights or anything like that? No?
By the way,
maybe one of the 55 people working the front office. Have you seen how bloated these staffs are on both the coaching side and the front office side? You got 100 analytics people. You got 1 million coaches. Not one person, no one said, hey, maybe don't call. Maybe we should do a little deep dive on Andrew Luck.
That being said, I mean, come on. There's so much tampering that goes on in the league. I'm sure the Washington could be like, oh, okay, you're going to get into tampering. Let's talk about any of 10 free agents you've signed.
Okay, what do you think?
The last
is
decade.
this the Snyder dossier that he's got on everybody?
I was
commissioner?
Actually, the only reason they banged Miami so hard is because they were mad at them because of the Brian Flores lawsuit, so they got them on tampering. And then I think, what did the Cardinals have to give up?
It was a pick swap, I thought.
Yeah, so I don't think... I think Washington be like, oh, this is a report from ESPN. You don't have the goods on us.
Well, okay, and how many times has Washington miscalculated on what a reporter may have had on them?
Well, right, but if you...
1,000 since Snyder has been the owner?
If you call an associate of Andrew Luck, I'm sure they couldn't get in touch with actual Andrew Luck because I don't think he has a flip phone, right? He does not take calls.
They ride a bicycle around the
They could make
campus.
a good argument is, oh, we were just talking about something. I think they could get out of this one.
I hope they don't. 855-212-4CBS.
Oh, come on.
855-212-4CBS.
It's a new regime there. Actually, is it? Did they sell that darn team yet? Is Josh Harris the owner yet?
In principle, in theory.
Okay, if once they sell the team, are you going to at least be neutral on Washington, or are you still against it?
No, once they sell. And also sell and like weed out any of the bad people that are still there.
Okay.
Any of the Snyder henchmen who could have been left over.
Okay.
All those people have to go.
I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the henchmen. Can't leave those guys around.
You know what? Okay, but are you going to blame the players for all that? Oh, well, we won't even get into it.
No, the players don't get blamed.
But you're right. If you could catch the front office doing something bad, I'm down with that. That's good to see them suffer. But a pick for Andrew Luck, that'd be the dumbest way to lose a pick in the history of the NFL.
855-212-4CBS. And then they traded for Carson Wentz and made everything worse. And now Carson Wentz could potentially be going up in flames. Not the actual Carson Wentz. No. The poster that is behind Andrew Perloff that has brought negative vibes to the studio because he's in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. This is an old Sports Illustrated cover. It's blown up. And it ended poorly in Philadelphia. Then it ended poorly in Indy. And then it ended poorly with the Washington Commanders. We can't have a perennial loser be this prominent in our studio. So what we're asking from you, honestly, we're not even asking at this point. We're begging you. We're begging you. Please, if we get 1,000 new YouTube subscribers by the end of the NBA Finals, we are going to destroy destroy the Carson Wentz poster that is behind Andrew Perloff. We're going to do it live on the show, but we need you. Yes, you. You in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Hit subscribe. You're right there. Just hit it. If you ever listen to the show, you're ever on YouTube, go to our YouTube page and hit subscribe.
All right, now let's not get mean. Perennial loser?
Well, it ended poorly in 3 different places. He was a second overall pick. We had higher hopes.
What's the highest Josh Allen's ever been in MVP voting?
It's not about Josh Allen.
How many
You're
Super
getting
Bowls has
defensive
Josh
now.
Allen been? I'm just saying, Carson Wentz is, for a perennial loser, has sure done some interesting things in the NFL.
I know, but he didn't win the MVP, right?
He came in third and only played 13 games, so he probably would have won it.
Okay, well then he was on a better trajectory, and the only person he has to blame is himself, because Philadelphia gave him a lot of money. They believed in him, and it was his own, reportedly, it was his own insecurities that caused such trouble. He could not get over the fact that Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. Like, he just never got the mojo back. And then Jalen Hurts came in and basically just won over the locker room.
Or he's not that good. That's also a possibility.
Also could be a possibility. Hey, by the way, did you see the Nick Foles thing from over the weekend?
No.
So Nick Foles retired. Oh, no. Nick
got
Foles
cut, right?
got cut. Right. Pardon me. Didn't retire yet. I didn't mean to put Nick Foles out to pasture yet. But Nick Foles is no longer going to be part of the Indianapolis Colts. He told a story about how he was asked to sign something over the weekend. And someone put, can you put Super Bowl 52 MVP? And he was like, wait, what was the Super Bowl number? He didn't remember the Super Bowl that he won with your Philadelphia Eagles.
Wait, is that the right number?
Yeah, LII, right? 52.
I don't know.
Ack, help me out. 52.
Correct.
Okay.
Wait. People know the Super Bowl numbers?
If you won the Super Bowl, don't you think you'd know the number?
But I'm surprised Ack knows that. You know the different Super Bowl numbers?
I used to be a lot better. Recent years, no.
Right, because once you get past a certain number, I thought everyone... Actually, I'm not surprised Nick Foles didn't know that. Nobody says, hey, the Eagles won Super Bowl 52.
He played in it. Of course he would
I don't even know. What was last year? 57?
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like people do
Wait a
not...
minute. Okay.
Yeah,
but
people do not use those numbers anymore, including Nick Foles.
But usually when you win it and play in it, you remember the number of the Super Bowl.
Do you think Gronk knows which Super Bowl he won?
He won quite a few.
Yeah, let's not set the bar too high. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, I thought this was unforgivable. Perloff didn't think it was a big deal. We'll get to that on the other side. Don't move. We got more Maggie and Perloff coming your way in just a moment after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio.
Sports Flash.
Well, the Warriors had a tough season, but knocked off the Pacific Division winners, the Kings, in the first round. After taking the opener from the Lakers, they've now dropped back-to-back games to fall behind 2-1 with Game 4 tonight in L.A. With the core of the team that has won several championships, Steve Kerr said the spot isn't anything they haven't seen already.
We're in the same situation we were in a year ago in Boston in the finals, down 2-1 on the road. We know what we have to do to get the job done, and that's the plan.
The first game of the night features the Knicks and Heat in Miami, which holds a 2-1 series lead after never trailing on Saturday. The Golden Knights and Oilers meet in Edmonton in the lone game on the NHL schedule. With that series even at 1, the Connor Bedard lottery winner will be unveiled tonight when the NHL draft lottery is held. The winner will have the chance to select the league's next big star. The Ducks, Blue Jackets, and Blackhawks have the best odds at winning. The Rays look to build on their big come-from-behind win yesterday when they opened a series in Baltimore with 6-0 Shane McClanahan on the mound tonight for Tampa Bay. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
'You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
On the show. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. Not just because it's a Monday, we get to react to everything we saw over the weekend. Perloff just ate peanut butter for the first time in 2 months.
I think you're maybe making it a little bit bigger of a thing than it actually is.
Well, if anybody was watching the Perloff Peanut Butter Challenge, which was amazing, where not only did you blow through eating 1 jar of peanut butter in 20 minutes, you started on a second jar and made it basically 3/4 the way through that.
Yeah, no, I was sickened by that and thought I would never eat peanut butter again. But I'm desperately hungry today. I forgot my extra kind bar. So now
How will we live?
Yeah, so I need constant blood sugar or I become really just out of it. Have you ever seen me when I don't eat and don't have coffee?
Yeah.
It's like a zombie from, Walking Dead. It's
Yeah.
not good. So I need a little pick-me-up, and I went to peanut butter for the first time.
How'd it taste?
It tasted fine, but I'm getting a little bit of that nauseous feeling back.
Really? Just
it's like
smell?
tequila. It's like tequila when you overdo tequila.
Yeah.
You can't really do tequila for a while. No, the feeling of eating it, just raw peanut butter,
Is it bringing flashbacks back to the peanut butter challenge?
I think it's bringing, when I did the peanut butter challenge, there was a level of toxicity from 2 jars of peanut butter that I was uncomfortable with, and that feeling is coming back.
Oh, wow. And you just had how many bites there?
About 5.
Yeah.
Big bites.
I mean, listen, we got 15 minutes till the top of the hour. You think you can take it down?
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Of course I could, but don't tempt me.
We have to clear it through HR.
I had one thing. This is going to sound pretty gross, but one time I bought from a company that I will not name because I don't want to get them in trouble, a wine country chicken salad. It's just chicken salad, except it's got grapes in it. So they call it wine country. It made me so violently ill from food poisoning that I can never eat that kind of chicken salad again. Just a thought
I
of
get
it.
that.
Has that ever happened to you?
I got really bad food poisoning once eating sushi from a dicey place.
Oh, well, that's on you.
It's on me. And not only that, I had the first bite and was like, something's not right. And then I had like 3 more bites.
Oh, no. How can you have a bite of sushi and know something's not right? What was
It was eel and avocado.
Well, eel's cooked, though.
No. Something was wrong with this one.
Oh,
Unagi
no.
roll. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Rough. Took me a long, long time to get back on it.
It's my worst nightmare because I love sushi. To have bad sushi would be really bad.
I mean, you're right. It was my fault. The place was kind of sketchy looking. I should have known. And especially after the first bite tasted bad, I should have abandoned ship, and I just didn't do it because I was so hungry. And then not hungry for a long time.
Yeah, can I make a very obvious statement?
Yeah.
Nothing's worse than food poisoning.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
There's just no way to make it a pleasant experience.
And everyone's got a story. Like, it's hit everybody. Ugh, it's just bad.
Great. And I'm getting all those feelings back from the peanut butter now that we discuss it.
Yeah. You going to keep eating it?
I am. Yeah, probably.
If you want to watch us, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Let's get to our Cowboys Quickie. All right. Well, you wouldn't think anything was going on with the Cowboys today because it's not. But we did have a Micah Parsons sighting over the weekend, to be specific, yesterday in Philadelphia. Now, Micah Parsons is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is roughly 2 hours outside of Philadelphia.
Yep.
He's obviously, well, maybe not obviously, he is a big 76ers fan, and he showed up, and I was courtside wearing a Tyrese Maxey jersey, and this got some Cowboys fans upset.
Right. Now, because obviously the Eagles and the Cowboys are big rivals, so in Micah Parsons' defense, he did point out that Tyrese Maxey is from Dallas. So therefore, he was rooting on his guy, the Texas guy.
No, doesn't pass the smell test.
What is the big deal?
Like that unagi I ate back in the day doesn't pass the smell test.
And other people point out Jalen Hurts was wearing a Houston Astros hat when the Astros were playing the Phillies in the World Series. And since we all love Jalen Hurts, nobody had that big a problem with that.
Okay, but the Phillies and the Astros have no history. That's not a blood feud.
Well, neither is
Philly and Dallas. You guys play each other twice a year.
In football, in basketball, nobody cares about the Mavericks. The Mavericks and the Sixers have no heat.
Okay, but
I don't even know if they've ever even played.
What's the biggest sport in Philadelphia?
Football.
And what's the biggest sport in Dallas, Texas?
College football and football.
Football. That makes it different. It rises to a different degree. I get why Cowboys fans would be ticked off about this. I would be too. Come on, you're in our city now. That's a hated rival. You got to stay on our team. All major sports.
Well, listen, Parsons was upset when the Eagles drafted Jalen Carter on the Bleacher Report special.
Yeah, he was.
So at least he's defending the Cowboys there. What does it matter what basketball team you support? You're saying you have to support the hometown team. I mean, LeBron has famously been all sorts of fans.
No, but LeBron's a famously fair weather on a few different things.
Yeah,
you know, he's
and
from
people kill
Cleveland.
him
He
for it.
supports the Guardians, but he also loves the Yankees.
Right.
We've let LeBron go. Where he's a lost
And he's
cause.
a Cowboys fan.
And but that's the Cowboys fans. It's America's team.
He's not a Browns fan, though.
I think he also claims to be a Browns fan
Yeah,
too. Like
he denounced the Cowboys, by the way.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, kind of not famously, but he said that because of Jerry Jones.
Oh, because of Jerry Jones. But then supporting Deshaun Watson's probably no picnic. But listen, you can't win. You can't win. But LeBron, he has got his own thing. I'm just saying, I get if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, it's off-putting to me to see our star player wearing anything Philadelphia. So that's what I get it. That's your Cowboys quickie for today.
I think that you should be able to do what you want when it comes to other sports. So, for example, I'm a big Bryce Harper fan. Now, I know as a fact that Bryce Harper, actually, you know what? He does a great job of supporting the Eagles and all the other teams. Mike Trout. Does anyone care that Mike Trout is an Eagles fan?
Does anyone care about Mike Trout, period?
Well, the one time you ever see him on TV is when he's at an Eagles game.
No, listen, it's a fatal flaw. But see, football in L.A. is not the same thing. Like football in Philly and football in Dallas are both really big.
Yeah.
So you got to go with like the hometown on this. I get it.
The other thing, too, is if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I love Micah Parsons so much. We basically got Lawrence Taylor 2.0 by accident in the draft. They had no idea that he could rush the passer, and he is the key to everything they do.
So good.
I think, all right, maybe this was a blip, but they are thrilled. If you're a Dallas fan, how mad can you be at your best player? That's like if you're an LA Rams fan, you can't be mad at Aaron Donald because he's your best player by 100-fold.
Find me an LA Rams fan. They don't exist.
Compared to the Chargers fans, they do.
I guess. Okay, so this is kind of interesting from Peter King's column this morning, Football Morning in America. So the schedule release is coming out on Thursday. Like, we already know everybody's home and away teams, but it's the schedule release, which is big because you want to know if you're playing on Christmas or whether you're playing Black Friday has a game this year. Who else is playing on Thanksgiving besides the obvious Cowboys and Lions? Like, there's still a lot to be determined for fans. You got to figure out if you want to travel, where you want to go. So Peter King's column said the release of the schedule, which the NFL had hoped to have for a primetime show Thursday, might be delayed. Is there an update?
There's an update from Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport saying now
that's from
official.
the league. Yeah.
The schedule will be released Thursday, May 11th, all games.
I don't know. I didn't understand how this could have been delayed. Like, you've got a deadline here. There's a show.
Well, yeah, but the show they schedule the show way later into the offseason.
I thought the show's Thursday.
No, I know, but they just announced it like 3 weeks ago. It's always been fluid when that show is going to be.
Okay, but you announced it, so now you got a deadline, so now you got to meet it.
But this, first of all, why is this even a show? It is amazing, and don't buy into the hype of the NFL that the schedule release should be a highly rated television show.
Why not? I like it. I want to see when my team's playing. I got to plan accordingly for my holidays.
Okay,
mentally.
You know another way you can see that? Just open Twitter and look at one tweet with the schedule. The fact that they make 3 hours of programming on ESPN and NFL Network, which I love both those networks, but come on, this is first of all, I'm Mr. Pro NFL. You're letting them sell this crap?
Listen, I think that college football's really missed an opportunity here because they schedule so far out in advance, you don't get a lot of buzz with schedule release stuff. It'd be so much better if we just found out who Deion Sanders in Colorado is going to play like a month ago. Wouldn't that been awesome? It's like a reveal, you know?
Well, I mean, everybody plays their own conference.
We know, but the out-of-conference stuff. And when are you playing them?
Who cares?
You know.
No, schedule release should not be a TV show. And if you pull
everything can be a TV show.
Okay, what's
We're
next?
living in the year 2023.
Well, yeah, but the NFL they've gone too far with making these off-season things. The fact that they've turned the draft into the most highly rated thing in the history of the world, when there's just players being selected, the schedule release for years was just you release a schedule. I love the NFL.
You're going to dump on the draft? It's one of the great weekends and days. We were just there. We loved it.
But it's not even a sporting event, and I understand it's getting more viewers than like any NBA final game in history.
Because it's about hope. All 32 teams are involved. You feel like your franchise. We're talking about Micah Parsons. I mean, that's a moment now in the history of the Cowboys when they got to select it.
But it could just as easily be a press release. Like, there's nothing that actually happens on the draft.
There's no pizzazz in a press release.
Okay, so
there's no showbiz in a
You don't think the schedule release show is stupid in general? Put up another poll, Stu, because I think most people are with me. I mean,
I can't wait. I'm going to vote on this in multiple accounts.
Is a schedule release show, which didn't exist until 4 years ago, and it's actually painful to watch people try and get through 2 hours of television on this. Is that a compelling TV show? People will watch it, but they will watch it and say, I am watching uncompelling television.
I know what's going on here. I get why Perloff is acting a little aggro today. You lost your wallet over the weekend. Is this residual frustration from losing your wallet? You couldn't get into the building this morning. Everything's been upside down. I see what's happening. You love schedule release day. This is not the real Perloff.
No, I do love schedule release day, but not. I don't think it should be a show, really. I have to be honest. I like seeing the schedule. And the funny thing, too, it all leaks early in the day anyway, so you can do all your analysis. Yeah, I lost my wallet. It actually hasn't been that bad because I've gotten very zen about it. I realized
you just accepted it.
I accepted it. I'm like, of all the bad things that could happen to me, there are many, many worse things.
That's true.
And I made a list of all the things I need to replace, and I've already replaced almost all of them.
Wow, good for you.
In 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah.
Is there any hope you're getting it back?
Yeah, it's in the house. That's the annoying thing.
Oh, no. It's in the house.
Yeah.
All right.
The phone call is coming from inside the house. That's the situation.
What is the NBA going to do about Nikola Jokic? Hopefully we'll have an update soon. We'll tell you what we think they should do next. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I think we're going to have a light breakfast.
Yeah.
We're going to have to really kill it at lunch. And then dinner is just going to be
free for all.
But you have to wait till after the draft for dinner. But you can't really enjoy barbecue while the draft is going on.
No.
So it's sort of a catch-22.
I can't be like all sauce all over my face and my hands trying to use an elbow to like scroll up to see the latest pick or trade.
Last year, though, it would have worked at the number 4 pick, though. Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. You've been waiting for that one, haven't you?
No. That dad joke just came out of nowhere. You handed it to me.
No. This is like when Ian Eagle sat on Jawbreaker for the whole year and then finally unleashed it.
Wait.
That's what he told us. And you've been sitting on this one for like at least 2 weeks.
You were just talking about how you can't get sauce on your hands so you scroll down during the draft. I mean, come on. That was put in my lap. I had no choice but to spike it home.
Sure.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
So glad to have you. Still no word on Nikola Jokic. Is he going to be suspended for Game 5? We don't know. Got into a tiff, an altercation with the owner of the Phoenix Suns in the front row. Suns owner, former basketball player, by the way, walk-on at Michigan State, was sitting in the front row. Ball comes out of bounds. He grabs the ball. Then Jokic comes over, tries to get the ball back. They basically kind of wrestled for it. And then Jokic puts a forearm into the owner. He goes flying back into the seat, sort of sold it a little bit. Jokic got assessed a technical foul on the spot. But now we wait, Perloff.
Yeah, we wait. Obviously, not having Jokic would be a problem. But to me, this is such an interesting X's and O's series already.
Yeah,
because you
gotten
have
really good.
3 superior players. So if you're the Suns, how do you stop Jokic? Double team him anywhere, I assume, right? But they don't seem to do that. And if you're the Nuggets, how do you double team Devin Booker, who's shooting from 30 feet away?
You can, and then you got Durant there, who's going to make you pay also.
Yeah, so you're double. So what happened was they started double teaming them way away from the basket. It left Landry Shamet alone in the corner. So
and
this
he was
is
dead eye yesterday.
Yeah, I think you and I might disagree about this. I think this is the most interesting series because the level of star performance is just so far above every other series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got a Game 4 tonight between the Lakers and the Warriors, and I think it's got to be a huge Steph Curry night. I mean, this has got to be like Game 3 of the finals last year.
Yeah,
or Game 4, pardon me. Game 4 of the finals last year. Did I say Game 3? Game 4. It's got to be like what Curry did Game 4, and he's got to mirror that. In Game 4 against Boston last year in the finals, 43 points and 10 rebounds. It's got to be that kind of a Curry game tonight. If the Warriors fall into a 3-1 hole, they're not coming back.
Well, what happens, though, if what continues to happen, their bench can't hit a three-pointer? What if Jordan Poole's 1 for 10 and Dante DiVincenzo's 1 for 10? I don't know if that would make the slightest difference. The bench has fallen off so badly for them.
I know, but we saw Steph close out Memphis in the Sacramento in the first round with a 50-point performance. I know it's a lot different team, but I mean, he had to do anything by all means necessary. It's got to be those Game 7 vibes tonight for the Warriors.
Yeah, I just worry that the Lakers see these guys. I think Jordan Poole's lost his confidence.
Yeah,
clearly. So they're definitely playing defense to make sure those guys are open from 3 because Darvin Ham, I don't know anything about him, but I guess he's a defensive-minded coach. They're definitely going to challenge, say, anyone but Steph. At least that's what I would do. It's hard to double team Steph for the same reasons we're talking about. He's so far from the basket. But if Jordan Poole is just shot and DiVincenzo is just a human.
Clay.
Well,
Clay's been like up and down.
Clay will be up and down. So Clay's the factor. To me, it's not Steph. If Clay is on, then they win. If Clay is off, it's big trouble.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We mentioned our pal Peter King, Football Morning in America. He did a fun exercise in his column today about ranking, basically, power rank the entire NFL, but took them under a team he can't find a weakness for, which is only the Philadelphia Eagles. Then Super Bowl vibes, which he put Kansas City, Cincinnati, San Francisco, and Buffalo, and then went on from there, Perloff.
Yeah.
And you had some major issues with Peter?
I have two issues.
Okay, go ahead.
I have the issue with the very top of these power rankings and the very bottom of these power rankings.
Okay.
So how can you put the Eagles number one over the Chiefs? And I'm an Eagles fan, but that's insane to me. Why?
Well, not really, because everyone's kissing Eagles' ass after the draft. So, yeah, to say they have no holes, I mean...
Because they drafted two guys? Those guys aren't going to contribute. They're rookies.
No, I'm just saying, though, they've added meaningfully to the defense, you think,
Well, they lost
which
Javon
was already
Hargrave.
good.
They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They lost Javon Hargrave. Their defense is definitely going to... And they lost their defensive coordinator. There's no... And they added two young guys. No way. They're definitely going to get worse.
But you don't look at the Philadelphia Eagles and think this is a roster that doesn't have a lot of holes. Okay, continue on. What's your other gripe?
No. It's not even about the Eagles. The Chiefs are how can you have the Chiefs anywhere but one if you're going to do a power ranking? The Chiefs are the NFL's team to beat. And I know you feel that way because we talk about it all the time.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing about the Chiefs.
There's no downside. There's no nothing.
There is no downside. I'm not about to say anything bad about the Chiefs. I thought it was remarkable last year. You say rookies don't matter. They were starting three on the defense during the Super Bowl and then had Isaiah Pacheco, the 7th-round rookie, running in the Super Bowl, scoring a touchdown. Rookies do matter, and that was something where I thought that could have been holes that needed to be plugged for Kansas City, but they relied on young guys.
Well, their defense did nothing in the Super Bowl. I mean, they got completely torched. So I don't know if that. And Pacheco is a running back, right? So I did read Kadarius Toney's going to be a number one wide receiver there. He's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, but Kadarius Toney, find me the full season he's put together.
Yeah, he'll get hurt. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. The bottom, Arizona's 32. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, Arizona's trying to be 32 in my opinion.
Probably, unless they want to build around Kyler Murray, who knows? But it does seem like they want to get in the quarterback market. 31 is Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, remember, they have basically most of the Super Bowl team is still there except for their quarterback.
Well, that's a big except.
Yes.
You're yada-yadaing over a really big
But does that make them the second worst team in the league? They have so many Pro Bowl players. They have Mike Evans at receiver, Chris Godwin at receiver. Let's see, who else? They have Tristan Wirfs is coming back. He was hurt on and off last year, left tackle. Ryan Jensen, center, is back. You go down the defense, Shaq Barrett and all these guys, Jamel Dean, Logan Hall, Vita Vea, they're loaded with talent on defense. They have about 6 Pro Bowlers on defense. Levante David is back. So how can you tank?
50.
How can you tank with all these old, experienced guys? That's my point. Yeah, he's 50, but he's still totally solid. I think that they are not built to tank at all. And they're in that division with the South. How are they going to get into this QB game? What do they do? What do you do if you're Tampa Bay?
It's going to be really hard because you're going to win games just by virtue of you're going to be most likely facing Bryce Young and the Panthers in one team. Who knows what Atlanta's doing? They keep spending their top 10 picks on these skill position players. Meanwhile, they got the offensive line and defensive line not exactly building through the trenches.
No.
And then, obviously, you got the Saints, who I think are going to be pretty good. With Derek Carr now at quarterback, they still got some good weapons, and their defense is good.
Right, but I mean, obviously, talent-wise, I think Tampa Bay is right there with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. They're in that same 6-11. Help me with the math. 7-10 as the rest of the NFC South, and that's just not going to be good enough to tank. And then 30 is Houston. Houston gave up their draft pick for next year. So what happens if they are a bottom 3 team?
But we all acknowledge that is a huge mistake. They made a costly error, one that might define their franchise for the future moving forward if that pick ends up being a franchise quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals.
You're right. I didn't realize that was fact. That you bring up a good point. There wasn't a single person who stood up for that. Your buddy Mike Lombardi said, they were actually trading up with Stroud. Peter wrote today that is absolutely not true. They were trading up for Will Anderson.
I know.
They were going to take CJ Stroud, the quarterback, regardless at 2. I just worry about these bottom 3 teams. Now, Peter, to his credit, did admit it never ends up this way. 26 is Indianapolis, and Maggie, you can't stop me. I'm just going to hype up Anthony Richardson until he either is the best player in the league or a complete failure, because It looks so good in practice this weekend.
I can't tell.
Instagram videos of him throwing a football into a net are gorgeous.
Yeah, I can't tell if you being this much on his bandwagon is like a help or a hurt.
I tell you,
you're not much of you're not a mush. Like, I don't think of you as a mush, but I mean, you're really on Trey Lance. He's
Trey
most
Lance.
like, I know, but
Show me the tweet in season about Trey Lance. Show me, and I'll show you 50 Jalen Hurts in season tweets. Yeah, I love Trey Lance as a project or as a prospect. He's 22 years old.
He still could be good.
Wait, show me the bad Trey Lance game.
Well, but being injured and not being able to play is its own like negative against you. You know,
it's
you got to be
different, though.
available.
It's different. And also, you have to admit, Shane Steichen in Indianapolis, offensive coordinator, that seems like a great fit. He's the one who built up Hurts.
Listen, I think it's going to be good too. But we said the same thing, like Trey Lance with Kyle Shanahan. This can't miss. You know, and it has. Timothy Schultz is in our chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Didn't Perloff hype Davis Mills? That was a Samter pick, actually. Samter was really big on Davis Mills. So
yeah, I actually.
Do you liked him too?
No. I mean, I never knew anything about him.
You didn't bandwagon for him.
Yeah, the guys who have I bandwagoned over the years, big time.
Well,
obviously, my guys, Case Keenum and Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I was a big Jalen Hurts bandwagger.
Well, that one worked out for you.
But also, too, people didn't realize Jalen Hurts played much better the 9 and 8 season than I think his stats.
Wait a minute. Largen Park says Pearl's the kiss of death. Maggie.
Like, name some names. Largen
I don't know.
Park.
Largen, you got to give us, what's the kiss of death on? We'll do it in the chat. If you are in the chat, if you're new to the show, hit subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the quicker we are to destroying the Carson Wentz poster that's behind Perloff. There were mentions of like lighter fluid and stuff today. So Stu was there for that meeting.
I was.
Yeah.
We got to really get creative
We need
here.
those YouTube followers. If you want to see Carson Wentz destroyed in
Just the poster.
fantastic style.
Not actually Carson
Follow
Wentz.
us on YouTube, CBS Sports Radio YouTube. Hey, who's you got to pick a bottom end quarterback. Who's gets you excited? If you look at Peter's bottom 10 teams.
So here's what I was a little surprised with Peter.
Yeah.
He put 10 as Dallas. I think Dallas is a little higher than 10. First of all, the NFC is going to be a relative cakewalk compared to the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dallas is going to win a lot of games. And I think they built on their playoff performance from 2 years ago to last year. They played a great game in Tampa. Obviously, then, ran into a very good San Francisco 49ers team. But I think that Dallas deserves to be higher here.
Yeah. How high?
I would actually put them in the Super Bowl vibes category that Peter put Kansas City, Cincinnati, San Francisco, and Buffalo in. I think Dallas deserves to be in that conversation.
I think Peter nailed his top 5, though. Philly, Kansas City, Cincinnati, San Francisco, Buffalo. You can't put Dallas over San Francisco because San Francisco's beaten them in the last two playoffs.
I get that, but not over them, but they're with them.
Yeah,
I think they belong there.
Surprise is that Peter put the Detroit Lions as the other NFC team.
Yep, 6th.
I had it. Yeah. So Dallas Super Bowl, but I like this a lot.
The Dan Quinn factor, he's back. The defense is good. I like what they did in their draft in terms of adding a run-stuffing defensive tackle. Like, that's a smart pick. Dallas drafts well.
Yeah, they're definitely going to win 12 games, but you have to be nervous about what happens in the playoffs with that team.
I also thought the New York Jets at 9 is kind of interesting just because this is so Aaron Rodgers. Like, I know we're all in the honeymoon phase of him at the Jets, but it's like the Super Bowl or bust for them. So do you think that they're actually a Super Bowl worthy team or not? Like 9 is kind of wishy-washy. Like they're either up there or they're not. So maybe Peter doesn't think they're Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I mean, 9's close. It's not embarrassing. Their win total is really low, 9.5. I just think part of it, you're getting to that AFC logjam there. Yeah, I mean, you can't get 9 and 10. It's still pretty high. Who are you going to jump? Who are you jumping the Jets? Are you jumping them over the Ravens? Maybe.
Ravens are going to be good this year. Their defense is already really good, and now Lamar's back. They're going to change the offense. Added a couple weapons on offense. If everyone can stay healthy, knock on wood for them.
Cut to week 3, 70% of the offense is going to be on the IR. Hey, what do you feel about the Bills? They dropped to 5 here. I think the last few years they've been 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, better off. I mean, listen, they didn't do a lot in free agency. The draft, you guys know, I only liked it. I didn't love the Dalton Kincaid pick at all. But overall, I thought their draft was fine. And everyone's coming for them. They're one of those teams. They're going to be hunted in the AFC. So, yeah, I mean, listen, they also got an all-time beatdown against the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs. it was a rough season for them at the end. There was a lot going on emotionally.
It wasn't even just Damar Hamlin. It was the shooting in Buffalo at the beginning of the year.
Terrible.
It was the blizzard. There was two blizzards. Two blizzards. There was a lot going on. I think there was distractions. I don't think we saw the real Buffalo Bills. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, but I also think that they have this super talented team.
Yeah.
And when you don't break through, windows close. I mean, Josh Allen's cap hit now is going to be like $50 million. It just changes.
Yeah, except that the whole thing got a second life.
What?
They got the best pass-catching tight end to come in the league in 8 years. Dalton Kincaid is going to be such a superstar if he's upright. I cannot wait for him to have 15 touchdowns and say, remember you didn't love the Dalton Kincaid pick?
I hope I'm proven wrong by this.
Yeah.
But my general rule of thumb is when, quote-unquote, everybody loves your draft, that usually means they're all wrong.
Yeah, but I don't know. This one feels right. Don't you? You saw Dalton Kincaid. You're just worried about the health.
Jeffrey Howell in the chat says, put the Wentz poster in the shredder. It will jam halfway through, and that's how it should stay for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
No, my friend. No. This thing is getting obliterated. If we're asking people to subscribe, we really have to make sure this poster goes through it.
Yeah, I don't think that thing is fitting in any shredder.
Also, do you have a shredder? Can you rent one of those?
It's way, I don't know what it looks like on camera. It's much bigger. It's much wider than what goes in a shredder.
But I imagine there's bigger shredders.
Can you say, do you have a shredder that gets rid of quarterback posters?
Yes. What do you need it for? Is this a really unpopular quarterback's poster that we have to take out?
He's not even that. Is he unpopular?
Yes.
I think he's out of sight, out of mind.
DJ's nodding his head, yes.
How can a quarterback be unpopular?
I mean,
I think he's trash.
He's not. He didn't play well, and he doesn't seem like any team really thinks he's great in the locker room either. And that's not what we need in this show, in this studio with these vibes. And you got Jalen Hurts now. You got to get Carson Wentz out of your life.
All right. I just think that we're being a little harsh to Carson Wentz, who I've never been a fan of, but still, I mean, what did Carson Wentz do to any of you people?
Okay, we've got an update. We're going to get to that in just a moment. It looks like the news is trickling out on Nikola Jokic. Okay, we're up against a break. We'll get all the details for you and all the facts. We'll give it to you all on the other side. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. The big news has dropped, Maggie.
The huge big news on Nikola Jokic and getting into a skirmish last night with the Suns owner, yes.
Let me guess. 3 games, 4 games, 5 games?
He's been suspended indefinitely. No, I'm just kidding. He has not been suspended at all. No suspension for Nikola Jokic. Instead, according to Woj, he will be fined $25,000.
That's the equivalent of you're wearing your socks illegally in the NFL.
Yes, $25,000. A lot to you and I, 0 to NBA players.
I think it's the Phoenix Suns owner, Matt Ishbia, tweeted out saying there's no story here. I think the league took that lead. Why make it something bigger when they don't have to?
Well, I mean, the last I checked, a new owner doesn't run the league. I mean, they should have done what they thought was right, and obviously this is what they think. Now, here's the question. Does Woj have the whole story here? Because I imagine that Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, has got to get fined as well. And I would expect his fine would be bigger than $25,000. I mean, let's go bank account for bank account. This guy just bought a team for $4 billion. He should get fined as well. Now, I've defended him through this, and I thought that Jokic could have gotten a suspension if they wanted to. He definitely violated the rules. He put his hands on somebody, a fan, essentially, the owner. But they should fine Ishbia as well.
Yeah, but something like what they did to Jokic, a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, but like a slap on the wrist to a billionaire is not $25,000.
Yeah, so what? Do 200?
I was going to say 150, something like that.
Yeah, like a slap on the wrist.
But that's meaningful money to someone else. You know,
yeah, no, right? $25,000 is meaningful.
I know.
It would be huge money to someone else, including me.
I know. Me too.
But I think they did the right thing here by de-escalating it, because why make this into a huge deal? It's not like it was one technical foul. It's not like they kicked Joker out of the game, and he went on to provide this incredibly entertaining game. So I like the idea of keeping it as low key as possible.
Listen, I mean, I think people were upset that earlier on in the playoffs it was getting a little crazy. You know, it was the Draymond suspension, which a lot of people thought was over the top. I did not, but a lot of people thought was over the top. It's been guys getting kicked out of games, a lot of ejections early on in these playoffs, and now you really just want it to be about the players. But at the same time, Jokic, don't put your hands on somebody. The person who gets the ball back from someone in the front row is the referees, not you. And it's just, you got to know better.
Yeah, but you can't let the fans keeping the ball. You can't have the fans keeping the ball away from the official when you're trying to keep the pace at a fast pace.
But technically, like, the crowd you can get like penalized for that if you don't give the ball back in a timely manner.
The team can take it back. The
team, because you're the home team, so it's assumed that it's a home fan.
Oh, God. See, why are we getting into this whole thing, legislating the fans? Just everybody in the front rows behave, including the owners.
Yes, well, and the players have to behave, too. Don't put your hands on people. Walk away. Walk away. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Our pal Ryan's in Santa Barbara has got a key for the game tonight between the Lakers and the Warriors. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how you guys doing? Happy Monday.
Same to you, pal. How you feeling?
Sorry, I'm just tuning in late today. I've been working.
How dare you?
Is he doing a peanut butter challenge again?
No, I'm done with that game. I'm out of the game. I've hung up my spoon.
No, Perloff ate peanut butter for the first time today in 2 months because he just happened to be that hungry.
So now he just has to have a bunch because he hasn't had it so long. He needs a fix.
No, I got to tell you, I had like 3 bites, and I felt a little sick, and then in the next break, I had like 3 more bites, and now I'm addicted again. I'm going to throw out this jar after the show. I'm not kidding. I'm going to throw out this jar because it'll be gone by Wednesday.
Are you a crunchy guy like me, or you go creamy?
Creamy. I mean, listen, crunchy, I have a very delicate top of my mouth, so I don't want to cut it all up.
Oh, my God.
Just not as gritty as you and me.
I'm sweating it pretty hard today about my Warriors tonight, and I'm hoping Thompson's been in that ocean a few times today, getting that good juju from the negatives and positive ions, because we're going to need him to step it up.
Yeah.
Step it up.
Honestly.
Go
ahead, Ryan.
So a couple questions on my Niners.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to be the starting QB? I mean, they sound so fired up on Darnold. It sounds like it's going to be a shooting match between he and Purdy and Lance. And then who do you have winning the NFC West?
All right, Ryan, we've got our marching orders. Have fun tonight watching the game. Listen, if history will tell you, it's going to be a big Steph game. And I can't imagine Clay would throw up 2 stinkers in a row, but we'll see.
Yeah, Clay just got to throw the ball to the right color jersey. Niners, by the way, I think Sam Darnold starts week 1. I think all 3, maybe 4 Niners quarterbacks get in at some point in the season, and they still win the NFC West. Commandingly.
I think the Seahawks could give them a run in the NFC West. I think it's possible the Seahawks win that division. The quarterback situation for San Francisco, I just don't love it. Here's a question. Why can't Trey Lance be the starter? I'm sorry.
He's too young. He'd be the young. I think he's
going to be in year 3 of his rookie contract.
Yeah, I think he'd be the youngest starter in the NFL still, or close to it, except for these rookies.
But here's a question. He's not beating out Sam Darnold in training camp. If this is a fair, not a stacked competition where they actually want one guy to start, if it's a true competition, Trey Lance is not beating out Sam Darnold, that's a problem.
Well, honestly, I'm not really sure what Trey Lance we're getting. It was pretty bad. He broke his ankle, and he broke a bunch of other things in there.
Yeah, but
so I'm going to assume he hasn't played since then. Let's assume I don't know that he's 100%.
This guy needs like a well-placed Instagram post of him looking great on a practice field. Let's get a little Trey Lance love going.
Why are you trying to start this? It's not Zach Wilson. You're trying to start this critique of Trey Lance, where Trey Lance has played 3 games in the NFL and he won 2 of them.
I know, but they drafted him off of what they thought he was going to be, projected what he was going to be, and now it's year 3. If he can't beat out journeyman Sam Darnold, that doesn't bode well for him.
Well, he got hurt in week 2 of his second season. It's kind of hard to judge him already, isn't it?
Well, but now I'm going to judge him if he can't beat out Sam Darnold in a training camp competition. If it's a true competition, he should be able to beat out Sam Darnold. He's been with the team longer. He should have more understanding of the offense, all of that.
Sam Darnold, I am so sure is going to be good under Kyle Shanahan. Because name one halfway decent offensive coordinator Sam Darnold's played with? I'm assuming, I don't even know who was with the Jets because he had a different one every year, but I'm assuming they were all bad.
The offensive coordinator was a different guy that nobody's ever heard from again. JJ's in California has got a thought on this Jokic, Matt Ishbia nonsense. By the way, if you're just tuning in, Jokic has not been suspended, just fined $25,000. Hey, JJ.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing well. What do you got?
I got a question. I got two things, but I got a question for both of y'all right now.
Okay.
If some, miracle happened and you guys became owners of the NBA team one day, right?
I mean, if anyone came to their senses.
Right. Would you sit down on the court and act like a cheerleader, or would you sit up in the box like a G and, you know what I mean, and not have anything to do with it? That's one question. And the second one is Maggie, you said something about the Cowboys making it to the Super Bowl. I don't think the Cowboys even make it to the playoffs this year. They ain't got no running game. I just don't trust it. I think teams are better than them. And that's all I got to say.
All right, they got really. Deuce Vaughn now. They got Tony Pollard back on a franchise tag. They got Deuce Vaughn, JJ.
Didn't he just break his leg?
He'll be fine. It's a broken leg. Come on. Thank you, JJ, for the call. If you owned an NBA team, where would you sit?
Wow, that's
you kind of you
like
notice he kind of led the witness there.
Yeah, like Michael Jordan in sort of a cigar-filled corner of the owner's box, and he always looks dark and mysterious up there.
Yeah,
I would probably go courtside. I like attention.
Then you're in the perfect line of work. What changed my mind about this actually was watching Dr. J. Has everyone noticed Dr. J at these 76ers games?
Amazing.
He looks so freaking cool in the box with the sunglasses on. Like,
but he's one of one. Cool. He's Dr. J.
I know, but even if you look 50% as cool as him,
he doesn't own the team, though, right? If you could pull it off looking like Dr. J or Michael Jordan, of course you would.
Yeah.
But those guys are so unbelievably cool.
Around them,
everything they do is amazing. So I'm not going to look like that in the owner's box. I'm going to look like a dork.
I know, but see, the thing is, I think that at least, you sit down courtside, if you are a dork, everyone's going to know you're a dork. Like, we all know Matt Ishbia now is a dork,
That's true.
We got the full picture of this guy. We now know Mark Cuban, everything. Steve Ballmer, all these guys who are still totally over the top. You maintain a little air of mystery when you're in the suite. So I think I'm going to go with that.
I would be such a bad owner. I would be in the huddles. I would be all over that team. It would be terrible. I wouldn't be able to help myself. I would want to know everything. I'd come in and shoot around every day.
Perloff courtside with the laptop talking about analytics in the huddle.
Oh, yeah.
They'd love you.
There are owners who do this, who shoot around with a team. Who's that guy who's out west? Who always plays in the Celebrity All-Star Game, one of the owners.
You're talking about Berra from Memphis.
Yeah, he could dunk, apparently.
Yeah, Memphis.
Yeah, I would be like him. I'd always be warming up with the team and kind of pretend I'm on the team. And maybe in the 82nd game of the year, I might say, hey, you know what? Put me on a 10-day. Get me out there. Come on. Why would I own the team?
Get to take a shot.
Why not?
Everyone would hate you, by the way. There's no amount of money you could give to charity that would make up for that in people's eyes.
Yeah, but there'd be no amount of glory to actually take a shot in an NBA game. Can you believe? I would be on Pro Basketball Reference.
Michael Jordan's not doing it. You can't do it.
Well, Michael Jordan has plenty of accolades for his basketball achievements. You're telling me if I own the team, I couldn't go out there the last game of the season, doesn't mean anything, just put on a uni for 5 minutes.
No, you got to do the Phil Knight thing where, famously the rumor is Phil Knight gets to call a play for the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah,
every
I know
game.
what you mean, right. That's okay, but it'd be more fun to actually play.
Be like, tonight I want Booker to get the last shot.
Or taking a bat. That'd be a little scary, though, in baseball. If I owned a baseball team, because I think I might get beat.
Do you remember when Billy Crystal got to do that at spring training?
Yeah.
You had to be as famous as Billy Crystal, and he got to do it once, and it didn't go well.
Garth Brooks did it all the time.
Oh, did he?
I think he was a pretty good baseball player. So he actually knew what he was doing. I would strike out, but I would also be terrified of a Major League fastball.
All in all, this would
You don't want to do any of these things? If you're rich enough to own a team, you wouldn't want to be out there?
No, it's not my lane. What are you, crazy?
I wouldn't get on a football field. That seems terrifying.
Absolutely not. All right, it's time to answer our Ask the Pros question today. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And today's question comes from one of our very own widows. Nick in Texas comes in with a great question today. Who do you think will have the most pressure coming into the NBA? LeBron, who did live up to the hype, or Bronny trying to live up to the expectations and living in the shadow of his dad? What an excellent question. Don't forget, you can submit a question by going to cbssportsradio.com/askthepros or tweeting it at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Nick coming through with the big ATP question today.
Wow, that's a tough one. I think it's old LeBron because he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated and he was on television all the time. At 16. And he was going straight to the pros. So I think Bronny going to USC, which is a bit of a lower profile program, actually, until he got there. Nobody was watching USC. They will now. So I don't think there's a ton of pressure. Not like LeBron.
USC's had some good players.
He's got some. Really?
Yeah. DeMar DeRozan?
USC.
Going off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, USC has never been I actually looked at their greatest player. I mean, by far, Bronny is the most famous male player. Cheryl Miller went there, so she's the most famous player of all time. But it's actually pretty pathetic how few NBA players have come out of there.
Well, considering LA is such a hotbed for basketball.
Yeah, because it's USC. Yeah. They're football. Yep. UCLA is the big basketball. So I think this gives him a little bit of comfort here. I don't think he has to be excellent immediately. LeBron had so much pressure. I think part of it, because he put it on himself, is he embraced that King title. He didn't shy away at all.
No.
He said, I'm here. I'm going to be this. Started getting Nike ads his rookie season. Bronny, I just don't see quite as much pressure.
I think I'm with you on this one, but it was pretty big news. Bronny, commits to USC. I just wonder, how long is he going to be there? Is he good enough to be a one and done guy, or is he going to be there for a couple of years? And then is LeBron, who doubled down with Ramona Shelburne over the weekend, says he still wants to play with Bronny in the NBA, so that's still alive. But I think you're right. I think it's LeBron Senior. Also because I don't think people are expecting Bronny to be LeBron. I don't think so. If Bronny made it to the league, I think everyone would kind of say, like, man, this is a huge accomplishment if he makes it to the league.
Yep.
I don't think anyone's holding him to the same standard. So I think I don't think anyone's holding him rather to that standard.
Right, and he's not built like LeBron either. He's much shorter.
6'2".
So that gives him a little less pressure. Here are I have a list, the top-ranked USC Trojan men's basketball players of all time. Number 1, Bill Sharman. We know that name.
Yeah, from way back in the day.
Paul Westphal, number 2. DeMar DeRozan, number 3. Gus Williams, who I remember, Seattle Sonics, right? And then you get to Vukovic. You go down fast. Cliff Robinson. Oh, this is not a good list. O.J. Mayo is 11. I mean, he was not good. This is not UCLA. What do you think? What do you think, Ak? USC basketball, is there any legacy there at all?
Not yet.
Maybe Bronny starts it.
Could be. Some good players. You'd have to put Evan Mobley. I mean, his career is incomplete, but still.
Oh, but the one and done, if Bronny goes there like Evan Mobley did for 1 year, it's not going to do anything for the program, is it?
Definitely. Bronny going there definitely does something for the program.
Right, but then the program's going to be back to nothing next year.
No.
Like Evan Mobley was there, made no impact whatsoever.
They got to the tournament.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they didn't go far, but,
But these one and dones are not really, I would argue, they're not program transforming guys.
Yeah, but Bronny is on a totally different stratosphere.
Yeah, but Bronny will go there, and it's going to be exciting for a year, and then how are they going to follow that up?
I'll be honest. I've said that I don't think Bronny has as much pressure because I don't think anyone expects him to be LeBron. I think the complete opposite with Arch Manning. I think Arch Manning's got all the pressure in the world. I don't know why. Maybe that's not fair of me, but I feel like Arch has pressure to not just make the NFL, but be like a good quarterback in the NFL. No?
Yeah, some. I mean, football's a little different though because I think it's a much harder path to be a 5-star recruit to the actual NFL than NBA.
Yeah,
NBA, you're basically getting drafted off high school. Markelle Fultz was amazing in high school. He went number 1 overall.
Yeah, Ben Simmons too.
Ben Simmons. So I think because there's so much can happen between when you're 17 and as a quarterback and 22. So
well, I guess the other part too is weird is that it's not even Arch's dad. It's not like the apples to apples. It's his uncles. Cooper was the one non-quarterback guy because he got hurt, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if Arch Manning is he the same as Andrew Luck? Or is everyone so sure he's going to be?
No, I don't think it's Andrew Luck yet. We've got to see him play in college.
Right. But it wasn't the theory Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence started out as Andrew Luck. But that's probably we probably didn't say it when they started out. Trevor Lawrence, some people did say it. Andrew Luck, I remember we never knew about him as a freshman at Stanford. Did you know he was the sure deal? I had no idea who Oliver Luck was until years later. So you're right. I think Arch Manning has a lot of pressure, but football is a little different. Bronny does have some pressure. Let's not make it sound like he's going to get off scot-free. His games are going to be highly watched next year.
Yeah, and he's going to
aren't you going to want to watch?
Definitely. And people are going to be critical. Again, sort of just comes with the territory. Not in a personal way, just critiquing his game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, will he be the biggest college star that we've seen in a long time in men's side? I think Zion would be the argument. Zion made primetime every night at Duke.
Watching Bronny is going to be something. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, got a lot to do, including the one person I never thought would be doing a hero's victory lap today. Never thought. Never, ever, never, ever, ever. Never thought they'd be doing that. We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio.
Sports Flash.
Well, the start of the NFL season is 4 months away. The schedule will be unveiled on Thursday night. And according to reports, there'll be a game on the Friday after Thanksgiving for the first time. Denver's Nikola Jokic will not be suspended for Game 5 for his courtside dust-up with Suns owner Matt Ishbia. He will be fined, though, $25,000. The Lakers made the playoffs, now making the most of it. After upsetting Memphis in the first round, they have a 2-1 series lead over the Warriors heading into tonight's Game 4. They'll host the defending champs with a chance to move a win away from the conference finals. Head coach Darvin Ham does not want to see his team let up at all.
Us winning by whatever 30 doesn't represent who that team really is. Just like us losing the way we did in Game 2 doesn't represent who we are. This is going to be a battle to the end, man. It's you can't rest on your laurels. That's a hell of a team.
The first game of the night features the Knicks and Heat in Miami, which holds a 2-1 lead. The Golden Knights and Oilers meet in Edmonton. The lone game on the NHL schedule, with that series even at 1. The NHL Draft Lottery takes place tonight. The Ducks have the top chance of winning and getting the top pick to draft Connor Bedard. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Should be a law in this country that when that song comes on, Hip Hop Parade, you have to put two hands in the air. Hip Hop Parade. No?
Yeah, maybe 25 years ago.
No, it should be a law still today. They should have put it on the books 25 years ago, and we should all respect it now.
Yeah, you're right. It should be well established at this point.
It should be the one thing that brings this country together. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. If you missed it, big news from today is that Nikola Jokic has not been suspended. NOT, not suspended. Just fined $25,000 for the altercation with the Suns owner. Really shocked the owner didn't get a fine. Really shocked.
Oh, do we know for sure that that's...
Well, in the break, I read the entire Woj story on ESPN, and there's no mention of it. So, I don't know. I mean, especially if you're going to self-own with the tweet where you're like, oh, I don't, the owner tweeted this morning, I don't want Jokic to be suspended. The focus should all be on the players. Well, when you took the ball and wouldn't give it back, you were putting the focus on yourself. Now you want it to be about the players? Okay. I was defending the guy because I thought Jokic was in the wrong, but he should absolutely be fined.
Actually, it was such a quick thing, though, in real time. It really wasn't. It wasn't much of anything, was it? What the owner did? He held on the ball for, 1 second or something?
Well, Jokic was trying to get it back, and he, grabbed it no, my ball. It's like, no. It might be your arena, and it might be your team, but it's not your ball.
I guess so. I like that the NBA is not making this a big deal. Although, I think you might be right, though. Maybe there will be a small fine that comes along.
We'll see. Okay, let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. It was a Casamigos weekend at my house, and boy, was it awesome. Today's shot of the day, though, comes from Perloff, who broke a long personal drought. It had been 2 months since he had tasted peanut butter. Perloff just ate peanut butter for the first time in 2 months.
I think you're maybe making it a little bit bigger of a thing than it actually is. It tasted fine, but I'm getting a little bit of that nauseous feeling back. The feeling of eating it, just raw peanut butter. Is
it bringing flashbacks back to the peanut butter challenge?
I think it's bringing, when I did the peanut butter challenge, there was a level of toxicity from 2 jars of peanut butter that I was uncomfortable with, and that feeling is coming back.
Oh, wow. And you just had how many bites there?
About 5.
Yeah.
Big bites.
I mean, listen, we got 15 minutes till the top of the the hour. You think you can take it down?
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Of course I could.
And that was Perloff, How far did you get in that peanut butter bottle?
I'm about quarter way through.
And you're going to continue this on, or it's going to go in the trash?
I'm throwing out that's what I have to do. When I have peanut butter or almond butter or any sort of nut butter, you have to throw it out. I'll eat the whole thing.
All right.
Aren't you like that?
No. I do eat a lot of peanut butter, but it's not an obsession for me. Okay, couple things for you. Number one, if you had given me 100 guesses, I would not have guessed that James Harden was going to have a hero moment yesterday.
Well, yeah, one in game 1.
No,
you
but
thought that was an aberration.
That was different. Also, Embiid was out in game 1. It was a little bit different. I thought after game 2 and game 3, when he was atrocious, not only did Harden have a great game where he hit the go-ahead 3 and basically won the game for the 76ers, not only that, he also had this incredibly touching moment after the game because he has invited one of the victims from the Michigan State shooting that happened in February that was so tragic, has become friends with James Harden, and he was there courtside, and they had this great moment. I mean, James Harden, the pendulum swung in a direction I didn't think he would get to again in his career.
Yeah, it's going to swing him right out of town.
Well,
because he's about to bomb the next 2 playoff games and be gone back to Houston. And
always confident 76er fan Andrew Perloff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Sixers fans, it was a very nice moment. I really appreciate what he did after the game, but that does not change the fact that James Harden is going to sink this team.
Okay, I thought there was a moment, though, where you saw Harden and you're like, man, maybe this guy could be on a winning team.
No. I don't think so. I think the Celtics are, for some reason, not playing very well.
They're letting the 76ers hang around so much.
Yeah,
I don't get it either.
It doesn't look quite like the same team from last year. Obviously, the first-year coach seems to be making some big mistakes at the end of games. The Sixers should have won yesterday easily, but Embiid ran out of steam and played terribly. James Harden's gotten to Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals before, but he's never gotten farther. I just do not believe, deep in my NBA-loving soul, I do not believe James Harden can get over the hump into the finals. I just do never see it happening.
Okay, but think about how this is kind of setting up for the 76ers.
It is setting up big time for James Harden to go to the finals.
If you beat the Celtics, what's waiting for you are Miami and the Knicks.
It's still Jimmy Butler, though.
No, and I know he lives rent-free in Joel Embiid's head, former teammate. But still, you're one twisted ankle away from Butler having to take a seat.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. I still think the Celtics have a big edge here. The Sixers are, Vegas likes the Celtics big time in this series. I just can't believe that Harden can do this consistently because who is he, Maggie? Is he the guy we saw in Game 1 and 4, or is he the guy we saw in Game 2 or 3?
Him, Anthony Davis, who are these guys? I mean, Davis already won a ring, so he's in a different category. But there's guys who are like this. They're just it's not heat check guys. It's just you never just know who. It's Jekyll and Hyde guys.
Well, Anthony Davis, too. His bad game, he might be 5 for 11 for 12 points. James Harden has no other option. He'll either score 40 or he'll go 2 for 14.
It's the nuclear option,
confidence.
Always.
It's confidence. And you know what's funny? It goes directly with how Joel Embiid's doing. If Embiid plays well, Harden loses his confidence. If Embiid is struggling or out, then Harden gets his confidence back. So Game 4, Embiid completely ran out of steam or was injured. We got his shot blocked 3 times in a row. Then James Harden's James Harden said, I have to do it. It has to be me. It has to be star James Harden. Something clicks. It's like a confidence level. It doesn't make any sense. You're 34. You've been an NBA star. You've been an MVP. Why do you lose it so much?
I don't know, but that Friday night game, it seems like ancient history now because they played yesterday and had the overtime win against the Celtics. But that Friday night game, I couldn't believe it. I've never seen a guy like that just not shoot.
Well, you see, he was 1 for his first 12 shots.
I know, but still, like, shooters keep shooting. I thought they have this endless amount of confidence. You're just supposed to keep going. And then he was passing up wide open looks at the rim.
You can't be 1 for 30. I mean, you got to, at a certain point, you have to stop shooting, right?
I know, but it's not even like, it wasn't even 3-pointers that he started passing on. It was like at the free throw line or even inside of the free throw line.
He just knew he was going to miss. It's confidence.
Man, that's wild. Hey, do we have the Kenny Smith sound? Can we play that before we go? This is hilarious. So Kenny Smith apparently has a new girlfriend, and she's an Instagram model, and some pictures came out over the weekend of the two of them.
Any photos you guys want to share from the weekend?
I got one of Kenny. Yeah.
No, but we're not.
I was at the Formula One.
Were you really?
First time at Formula One.
HBK.
Yep. Shaq and I were hanging out a lot together. Shaq and I was everywhere together, bro. That's my mate, right-hand man right there.
I'm going to do you a big favor, Kenny.
You going to show TMZ?
I'm going to do you a big favor.
TMZ ain't never
No, I'm going to do you a big favor. We're going to go to CarMax one-on-one. There we go. CarMax one-on-one.
He's right about TMZ never being wrong. But these photos, Kenny Smith, applaud you, my friend. Very pretty woman that he's got there.
Yeah, who was a very small bathing suit, I noticed.
yeah, I bet. All right, we got to say goodbye. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you so much to the Weedos, the Purple Drinkers. Lindsay Berra, granddaughter of Yogi Berra, who joined us earlier, was phenomenal. All the callers as well. We will see you back here tomorrow, y'all. Be well. Enjoy Lakers Warriors.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.